I thought of a way to make this very simple so you will understand. Would you please give me a spotlight? Do you get what I'm saying now? This is not about you. This is about me being in the spotlight where I deserve to be.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful.com. Once again, thank you to our friend Big Dick Dave Batista who sent that in. He recorded that just for us, Stephen Jensen. I'm Jeremy Lambert, joined as always by the great Stephen Jensen. Jensen, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. I think it's funny because like that intro, it looks like I'm wearing the same exact thing because like I'm wearing glasses, my hair's tied, and like it's a black shirt because like with the way that our camera works for this show, like you can never really see what I'm wearing, so it just looks like a black. I'm usually wearing a black shirt though, so like
you're wearing a wrestling shirt all the time, and all wrestling shirts are black.
Exactly, that's exactly it. And I'm also I'm in the process right now of like waiting on new contacts, and that's why I'm wearing my glasses so much. So, anyways, yeah, been a a morning, just kind of waking up, but I know you're usually up and at it and wait for a few hours. So.
I got kids, man. I got step kids. They're up at 6 o'clock every morning. So I'm up. I've already listened to 2 podcast interviews, done about 5-6 posts on the website. I'm rolling, baby. I've already finished 1 cup of coffee. Maybe somebody will bring me a 2nd cup of coffee. I don't know. We'll see. We're rolling, Stephen Jensen. It's Thursday. It's Spotlight Day.
Hell yeah! Looking forward to it.
CM Punk is back.
Yeah,
CM Punk is back. That's what we're gonna start with here. Let's get into it. I gotta find the intro video. Here we go. All right.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
Last night, AEW Dynamite Quake by the lake that quakes. CM Punk returned following the main event. Jon Moxley defending his interim championship against Chris Jericho. It turned into a big brouhaha. And then the cult of personality hit. CM Punk came out, looked fine, was running, was jumping around on his foot, and got in the face of Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley said that to him, and then shoulder shrugged him. And here we go, all out. CM Punk, Jon Moxley. You excited, Jensen?
I am. I thought it was pretty funny. I saw Muscle Man Malcolm and I think a few other people tweeting the last night. They were like, because they got pictures with him at that convention like this last weekend. And
San Diego Comic-Con, I think, or one of the Comic-Cons.
Right. And
C2E2.
C2E2, right. And Punk was like, he was sitting for all the photo ops, and people were like, could he even stand the whole time? Like, was his foot okay? We just looked pretty good out there. But I'm happy to see him back. Like, I didn't know exactly when he was going to come back. We knew it was going to be a pretty fast return, considering they did the whole interim title thing and they didn't just like strip him of the world title. So I think they've done a really good job though of establishing Moxley as like the champion while he was gone though. Like, I mean, Moxley he's had multiple title defenses. Like, it wasn't like he just won the interim title and just like sat there and waited for Punk. He defended that belt consistently. And so I think they've done a really good job of like building towards Moxley and Punk. And we have about another month or so before All Out. So they can like really get into it for the next month or so before their match. So I thought the timing was really good, and Punk got a massive pop last night. I mean, people can say what they want about CM Punk, and I've said what I've said about him throughout like his UFC run and all this stuff. But like, one thing everyone always, whether you like CM Punk or you don't, you got to give him credit for how over he stays with the wrestling fan base. I mean, it really is really, really impressive. So yeah, I'm all for seeing him back, and I expect CM Punk is he'll retain the belt and unify the belts, I'd imagine. But they've done a really good job of making me think that Moxley's got a shot.
I would suspect CM Punk will win at All Out as well, because he didn't really have a run with the title. He did the trios match and then got hurt. So yeah, I suspect that Punk will win as well. He did get a big pop. We all kind of thought he'd be back by All Out. That was the rumor and innuendo that was out there. But yeah, he did some good work out there with walking in a boot at the conventions, not standing, limping around, and put some doubt in people's minds of, oh, is CM Punk going to be good? Like, is Is he going to be healthy enough? Is he going to be back in time for All Out? Looks fine. Seems like he's going to wrestle at All Out. Wasn't confirmed or anything, but seems like that's where it's shaping up to be. I'll say this about CM Punk. His first run, like his WWE run, like I liked him. I really liked his ROH run. We did the ROH show and we watched a couple CM Punk matches, but I really liked his ROH run. I liked his WWE run. Soured a little bit after WWE stuff with the UFC stuff. I'm kind of in the same boat as you when it came to the UFC stuff. And then just his general attitude online with stuff rubbed me the wrong way. I think since coming to AEW, I think he's been great. In ring, I've been doing this thing called the series on Fightful Overbooked. I've been rewatching CM Punk matches. I've rewatched Darby, Kingston, and Wardlow. He's really fucking good. Like his mind for wrestling is like top of the top when it comes to just like laying out matches and storytelling in matches and storytelling to get to the matches as well. Like when you go back and you rewatch some of this stuff, and I'd be interested to like rewatch now some of his WWE stuff to see if it kind of holds up to that same level. I'm willing to bet for the most part it does, but certainly his AEW stuff, I'm not sure he's really missed in AEW. And when it comes to the Moxley thing, I think the promos are going to be great. They got less than a month to build it, but I think the promos are going to be great. And then they're going to have the match, and I think the match is going to be great too. I'm excited to see CM Punk back. Rewatching this stuff, I've become a bigger fan of him, and I've appreciated him more than I probably did beforehand, because he's next level when it comes to the way he puts everything together.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like you just said, even just coming back and when he wrestled Darby, they made it make sense, through like how CM Punk made it like, if I was growing up right now as a wrestling fan, a young CM Punk, Darby Allin would be my favorite wrestler. So I want to wrestle Darby Allin, and it was like a babyface versus babyface thing, and it worked. And Punk came back. He's had a lot of really good matches and good stories since coming back. I think that the MJF feud was that story was not only the best storyline, I think, in AEW history, it's like one of the best like pro wrestling stories I've ever watched play out in like my 30 years of watching it. The thing is too, like the matches are paying off also. It isn't just like the stories are incredible, like the matches have been great too. So like he's really hitting on all cylinders. And I know after the MJF match, CM Punk was talking about how like that match was his love letter to professional wrestling and stuff. And you can just tell in all of his time off, he probably really felt like he was never going to come back, because he felt like it was always like his only real option was going to be the WWE and be wrestling for Vince McMahon and this and that. And like, I think that once you realize AEW was like a real possibility for him and a legitimate option, he really started like, I don't know how long the wheels have been spinning in his head for, but you can tell that like everything he's done since coming back has been a massive collaboration. Like these are his ideas that I'm sure Tony Khan, I'm sure there's it's a collaborative effort, but it's like you can tell that there's a lot of CM Punk built into what we're seeing, like his entrance against MJF and the throwback gear and all that stuff, and the throwback music, and even certain moves he hits, and like picking and choosing his spots and when he's gonna go for like a Pepsi plunge and stuff like that. Like they're just little things and that he's woven into the stories and into the matches that like I just think it really is next level stuff, and it's stuff that I think is going to really help the young AEW roster over time. Like having a mind like his around to pick his brain is going to be really beneficial for a lot of that roster, and I'm sure it already has been. So no, I'm with you. I think CM Punk is he's a next level storyteller, and it was rough, man. Like it was sad as a fan of his to see how bad the UFC run was, but on top, but it was he has balls for doing it. I've never roasted him for that. Like he has balls for doing that and fighting people in the UFC, especially knowing the level he was at. But it's just one of those things where like there was that, but it always rubbed me the wrong way how he kind of approached wrestling and wrestling fans for a few years, right? Like he really made it sound like he didn't want anything to do with us or do with do with the business. But his love for it is clearly changed over the last couple of years. So I love what I'm seeing out of him. I really am, and I'm really happy to see him back.
And I mean, Jon Moxley, I think since returning in January, Moxley in AEW has been one of my favorite wrestlers. I've said it many times. Like, he's felt like the biggest deal in pro wrestling for a good chunk of his AEW run. And I think that's been the case, at least for me, during this title run even. And I'm not saying this run has been better than Hangman Page's, because he's had great matches, Moxley has, but there's been no doubt as to who was going to win. At least Hangman, there was some doubt of, oh, can he defeat Danielson? Can he defeat Cole? Like, those feuds weren't my favorite, especially the Cole feud. I thought it went a little bit too long. Moxley has just had great matches where it's like, all right, well, Moxley's going to win. But Moxley in AEW, and certainly since he's been back in the ring following rehab, like, he's also been kind of like next level with stuff. And he said it before, like, he feels he's like really putting everything together in the ring and wrestling the style that he wants to wrestle. I think we're going to see something like pretty special between Moxley and Punk at All Out. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think both guys are kind of at the peak of their powers right now when it comes to promos and when it comes to in-ring ability. And I think we're going to see that. We've seen Dean Ambrose versus CM Punk, and those matches were good, but it was sort of a smaller picture thing because Moxley was part of the Shield and Punk was tied with Bryan at the time, but kind of a little bit lost in the mix somewhat. It was near the end of his WWE run as well. And I think now these two guys are certainly the biggest stars in AEW, two of the top stars in all of wrestling. Again, I think we're gonna see something special at All Out.
Yeah. Well, another layer of what makes Moxley so great right now, in my opinion, is I think there's certain fans I think that really only watch him in AEW, and there's certain and some of that fan base, they love Moxley, but then there's other part of it that I've seen that doesn't. Like, I've seen a lot of people that don't like Moxley's current run. Like, they just don't think he should be the interim champion or whatever. I totally disagree. Like, I think his interim title run has been really good personally. But part of what makes Moxley so great right now for me too is that, like, he's doing the same thing in GCW, and like he's showing up on indies and stuff, and like he just really seems like the biggest badass in all of wrestling to me. Like this dude who's willing to go in front of a crowd of, a few hundred people at a GCW show, or in front of a few hundred people at like a smaller indie show, and pop in and just do it for the love of the game and to help out the next generation. And he goes hard out there too. Like, when he's in a GCW ring, he's going through glass, and he's bleeding worse than what you see on AEW TV every week and stuff. And like, so it's really cool. And I love the kind of the mindset change and kind of gimmick change almost that he's under, or kind of the evolution of what Jon Moxley has become, because he's always had like a passion for mixed martial arts, and he trains with Extreme Couture, and I know he doesn't live in Vegas anymore, but when he did, he was there a lot, and I'm sure he visits and stuff. And in him with his like love for William Regal and his friendship with guys like Claudio and Danielson and stuff, and it's like just kind of cool seeing what this and also I think a lot of it also kind of runs parallel with him becoming sober also, where like he's in like the best mental condition. It seems like his physical condition is night and day. Like, he went from like bloated and like looking kind of scary to like he looks like he's healthy. And on top and along with those changes, I think he also made changes to like his mindset as like an in-ring wrestler. It's he's always going to be kind of like that lunatic fringe or whatever, right? Like, he's always going to have like that quirkiness and kind of like that Jesse Pinkman kind of vibe about him. But at the same time, now I see him more as like so he had his run in the indies, which I loved, but that was a lot of deathmatch stuff for the most part. Then his FCW run I thought was really good with like Regal and stuff. But then like WWE for all those years, he kind of was more of like, he had good matches and I was a fan of his, but he was more of like a brawler where like, it's like punches and kicks, and he was just a crazy lunatic. And, but now
I told you that every week, the lunatic fringe, Dean Ambrose. Exactly.
And then instead of doing something actually crazy that would like get him over, they'd have him like
gas
dogs at someone. Yeah, exactly. Like, and so
burned a jacket. Oh no, he burned the Shield gear.
like destroys a potted plant or something.
Yeah,
like,
he's unhinged.
Yeah, he's crazy. But now it's like that still exists within Jon Moxley, but that's just like a part of what he is now. Like now I think of him more as like a guy who's a great brawler, but also technically sound and like goes for submission holds and like trains with catch wrestlers and and it's like, so I really like the evolution of what Jon Moxley's become, and I think it really shines through too everywhere he wrestles, whether it's AEW, GCW, indie promotions, whatever. Like when he walks through that curtain, he has this look in his eyes like he knows he's doing something special, and I think he's in his prime right now. Like he's been great for a long time, but I think this is the best version of Jon Moxley we've ever seen.
There's a confidence and a swagger to Moxley that like inherently comes through on the television. Like you can just see it the moment he walks out. You can see it when he walks through the crowd, when he gets in the ring. Even last night when he was face to face with Punk and he flips him off and he gives him the shoulder brush. He's like, all right, you're CM Punk. Cool. You got this big reaction. Awesome. You're technically the world champion. Like, that's great. I mean, he said it in his promo. He's like, oh, you want to call me interim champion? It's like, no, like I'm defending this title. I'm training. I'm working hard to keep this belt. I'm not just out here holding on to this belt, keeping it warm for CM Punk's return. And then again, at the end of the night, it was the same thing. It's like, cool, you're back. Great. I'm still the fucking man around here. Like, you're not coming back here and taking my spotlight. And it's like, oh, it's all about CM Punk now. Like, no, I'm still the man around here. I love, it's a little thing and probably meant nothing to anybody. Like when he's out there with Claudio and like they're doing the handshake and he's like chest bumping him and everything. It's like, yeah, this guy like has this inherent belief in himself. Like, this is my fucking territory and no one's coming in here and taking it from me. And get like that confidence and swagger, it just oozes when he is on screen. So that's why Moxley's been legitimately like my favorite performer since he's joined AEW. He's been great.
Yeah, totally agree. And I always love watching like Renee's reactions and stuff too to some of this stuff, like on Twitter while he's doing it. It's so funny because when they met, it's like I'm sure John is very similar to when they met all those years ago, but like it's kind of funny to think like, they met in the WWE where like things were pretty squeaky clean as far as like, the stuff you saw on screen and like, and but then like he leaves WWE, like ever since it's like these matches he's been having where he's just bleeding like crazy and going through glass and barbed wire and all this stuff, and just seeing her reactions, like that's been kind of a funny layer of it to me too, because like you can tell she just loves him so much and she thinks that he's so awesome and like so badass, but then like every now and then she's like, I'm really scared, like I really don't want you doing this, and you can tell he just like feeds off of that. Like he loves being that dude who like can take it to that next level of craziness and like still get away with it. You know what I mean? Like well, she was talking with Danielson on the podcast, and Danielson's like, yeah, I just love the bleed. Like it's great. It's love it. He's like, your husband loves to do it too. She's like, yeah, I don't understand it. Like, I don't know why you guys just want to go out there and bleed all over the place. Like he got bloody last night. His ear was ripped up and everything. Like it's a Jon Moxley match. He's gonna bleed in the match. Like some people feed off that. I don't get it. I don't want to go out there and cut myself open and bleed all over the place. But like some people just feed off that. And yeah, watching Renee and just like, oh fuck, here he goes again. He's gonna do something insane. And Moxley, he's at the top of his powers, I feel. And CM Punk, I think he's at the top of his powers as well. I'm really looking forward to this match at All Out. I'm glad it's happening. I don't know what the original plan was for All Out, if it was Moxley and Punk before Punk got hurt and they kind of had a reverse course with this, but they pivoted to this, and I think it's going to work out in their favor, pivoting to this. Yeah, and they've had to do a lot of that, right? I mean, like that's kind of a good transition into the other AEW spotlight, but like, because like even speaking of pivoting, the Hangman and the Young Bucks, which we're about to talk about, like this was a whole story that probably was supposed to start playing out a year ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and then Kenny got hurt, and I feel like they've had to like really push stuff back, and then like in the Adam Cole coming in at that time and everything, and Cody leaving, and there's just a lot has happened that so yeah, if you want to get into that real quick.
So last night, we saw the Young Bucks. They're in the Trios Tournament. They don't have a partner. It's a mystery partner. So they go to Hangman Page backstage and they're like, hey, Hung Bucks, let's get back together. Let's do this. Let's win these trios championships. And Hangman is just like I can't do that to Dark Order. Like if I'm in it, that means it's possible that they might not win. Like this is about them. They supported me during my run, helping me to the title when I was down. When you guys left me, I'm going to support them. And so I'm just going to be in their corner instead of, competing in this thing. And now Brandon Cutler is going to be the partner with the Young Bucks. And we'll see what happens if the Young Bucks can carry Brandon Cutler in this trios tournament. I thought it was a good segment. I liked it because it did seem like we were leaning towards Hung Bucks when he made the save last week after the Undisputed Elite turn. And, I like that Hangman actually referenced this Dark Order stuff. They've done a good job on being the Elite. Not everybody watches being the Elite. I do think AEW still has an issue of not letting certain things breathe. Like I would have liked to see a replay of the Undisputed Elite attack. I'm not saying you got to beat me over the head with all of this stuff every single week, but this should have been a big deal. Show me some recap of this, put some more focus on this kind of stuff. But I like that Hangman was like, you know what? No, Dark Order. Hey, these guys are still my friends, even though I aligned with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus that one week instead of them. They've supported me. I'm going to continue to support them. You guys need to find somebody who hadn't turned on you. You haven't turned on them. You need to find somebody like that. It's all seemingly setting up for the big Kenny Omega return next week because the Young Bucks are in action next week, unless it is Brandon Cutler. So yeah, we're getting Kenny Omega back next week, 1 week after CM Punk is back. What'd you think of the segment and Omega's eventual return?
I like the segment. I think it all makes sense. I've said this before and I'll say it again. One of my favorite moments in AEW history was what makes a cowboy vignette, the video package right before, and then the entrance of Hangman and the Dark Order coming out to wrestle the Elite Squad when they were dressed up like Space Jam. That entrance was incredible. I'm still waiting for Jazzwares and Jeremy Padawer to put out a Hangman page with that gear with the purple roses and stuff on it, like that. Anyway, so I think there's been a lot of pretty cool, really cool moments actually that Hangman and the Dark Order have had on TV, but most of what you see with them is on BTE. So my thing is this: I'd imagine it won't actually be Brandon. The only reason I think that they could do Brandon Cutler as the Young Bucks partner, the only reason it would make any sense is if he is the reason they lose. Like Brandon Cutler gets pinned. Right. That eliminates the Young Bucks team. And then whenever Kenny's ready to come back, then Kenny and the Young Bucks go after whoever the champions are. I could see something like that maybe. But I think the more likely scenario is that Kenny's just back in time for All Out and they just didn't. And if Kenny's back, I would have Kenny and the Young Bucks win the entire thing. Even though I know that's predictable. I think that's still the right thing to do. What I really want to see now though, I think that eventually we will get the Elite coming back together, and it'll be the 4-person team. I guess Brandon Cutler technically as well. So you would have Hangman, the Young Bucks, Kenny, and then I guess Brandon Cutler, kind of with them, as their camera guy or whatever. But what I really want to see, I want to see the Young Bucks and Kenny focusing mainly on the trio side of things, especially if this is a good kind of crutch for Kenny, where depending on how injured he still is and how hurt and banged up he still is, a trios title for him would be perfect because the Young Bucks can still, all three of those guys, though, to be fair, are always dealing with nagging injuries. Matt and Nick Jackson, they're banged up too, but it helps all three of those guys, to be able to have three people to do the work instead of just one or two of them. And I would love to see a storyline play out where they have kind of their own thing going on with the trios. And they kind of collectively had chosen Hangman to be all right, hey man, you got to get your world title back. And this time, it isn't you versus Kenny. We all have your back. This is you've won the title before. You've lost your confidence before. You've won the world title. We weren't there for you. You lost it. You kind of lost your confidence again. Kind of hanging out with the Dark Order again. to see Hangman kind of make a run for the title again, but with the support of the rest of the elite, I think that could be interesting. So I think there's a lot of really cool stories and matches and a lot of different stuff that's going to come out of all of the stuff we saw. And last night I thought was a pretty good kind of setup to a lot of stuff, because you also start kind of alluding to the idea that the Dark Order and the Young Bucks are on different sides of this bracket too. So like, it's very possible that it winds up being the Dark Order versus the Young Bucks and Kenny, or the Young Bucks and Hangman, if like he does wind up ultimately joining with them. And so I think, do you think that's where it heads? Do you think we get the Dark Order versus the Elite as like the finals of this thing?
So I was going to ask you about the bracket. So I'm glad you asked me. So we have Young Bucks and mystery partner against Andrade, Dragon Lee, and Roosh. You would, unless Brandon Cutler is in this and he takes the pinfall here, if it's Omega, you would think that Omega and the Young Bucks are going to win. On the top end of this bracket, we have Ospreay and Aussie Open against Death Triangle, and we've had this Omega and Ospreay tease forever. Like this has been. I don't know if the heat's legitimate. The way both of these guys talk, it sounds kind of legitimate, but if they're working, they're doing a very good job of it. I don't know if they're just going to do like Omega Ospreay in like a 6-man kind of thing. Like I kind of think one of the Aussie Open guys maybe just takes the pinfall in that, since Pac, Penta, and Phoenix are the 3 AEW guys in that. And so we don't end up getting the Omega Ospreay tease. Then on the other side, we have Trustbusters and Best Friends, and we have House of Black and Dark Order. Putting Dark Order over House of Black is a gutsy call, because House of Black is seemingly like one of their big deals. Like Malachi is mostly on television. Brody King's been, he's been beating Darby Allin until last night when he lost the coffin match. And people think highly of Buddy Matthews, who should wrestle more, better Omega as they call him. Dark Order has just they've been losing a bunch of matches. So for like, they literally just lost the House of Black, I think like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago on like Rampage. Maybe it was a little bit longer, but they lost the House of Black on Rampage a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken on that. And it was a tag team match. So for it to align as Dark Order against Young Bucks and Omega, like I think that's the best story with the Hangman Page stuff. But man, to have them beat House of Black that would be a gutsy call, given how Dark Order has been treated for the most part. I kind of think Tony leans very heavily towards match quality, and I'm not sure. I'm not saying that like Dark Order against Young Bucks and Omega would be like a terrible match or anything. I think House of Black comes out on the other side of this bracket to set up them against Young Bucks and Omega. I don't know. The story is the Dark Order, though. That's the story. But I still think House of Black ends up in the finals. Where are you at on this?
It depends on what order they do this tournament, I guess, because like you said, for the Dark Order to get to the finals, they'd have to beat House of Black, and then they'd have to beat either the Trustbusters or the Best Friends, right? They're
going to beat that. I don't like the Trustbusters. The Best Friends feel like whoever was winning that's probably losing in the semifinals.
Probably. Well, I mean, I expect the Best Friends to beat the Trustbusters. Like, I think that's probably. But and by the way, I like the Trustbusters. Like I think Ari Daivari. Like people. We're going to talk of some NXT Level Up today. Don't worry, y'all. But
everyone's waiting a bated breath for the NXT Level Up discussion we're going to have.
Don't you worry. But the reason I bring that up is because when it was 205 Live still, Ari Daivari was a guy, along with Tony Nese and some others, that like I thought were really the backbone of that show and really didn't get enough credit. Like Ari Daivari is a really solid wrestler. It's just he was on a show that nobody cared about. But I like him. I think that Parker Bordeaux already is showing a lot more promise right now than he ever did as Harlan in the the NXT. And dude, I think it's hilarious. There's so many people that don't know who Slim J is. Like, I'm like, tell me you don't know about indie wrestling without telling me you don't know about indie wrestling. Like, if you don't know who Slim J is, like, you don't know about indie. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not one of those like hipsters that thinks you need to spend time watching.
Bury all the people who dislike indie wrestling. You bury my fiance, by the way, because she is last night during that segment. She's like, "Who are these people?" She knew Parker
Yeah.
Bordeaux because his
Listen.
name was on his shirt, but
Right.
did not know Daivari, and then did not know Slim Jazz. Like, yeah, Slim Jazz has been around for like 20 years.
He's been around forever.
Yeah.
Like,
and
he's looked the
Daivari,
same the entire time too.
yeah, I was like, Daivari, he was on like 205 Live and stuff. She's like, okay, thanks. And then she asked me again like 5 minutes later, who are these people?
Yeah, and to be fair, like my buddy who was watching the show with me last night, he said the same thing and stuff. And I saw plenty of people on Twitter that were, who is this guy? You know, this guy looks like a loser. And I'm like, you guys, like, watch some like 2002 or like, I guess when did Ring of Honor start? 2002? It would have been right around that time that like he was a part of like really early Ring of Honor, but also part of it for me is he stayed relevant on like the Southeast indie scene for a long time. Like, so I've seen him like wrestle in Georgia over like the last few years and stuff like that, or like in Tennessee and stuff. So like so he's been kind of fresh in my mind over the past years, even when he wasn't in Ring of Honor and stuff. So like I'm a fan of his. I think he's a really underrated wrestler and a really innovative guy, a guy who like, you know, who kind of in a lot of ways is kind of like an Amazing Red type of guy where like a lot of people he innovated a lot of stuff and a lot of people have taken kind of like the blueprint of a lot of his moves and stuff like that. And like, so he just doesn't get the credit he deserves. So I think it's really cool to see him at least on AEW TV and as a part of Ring of Honor. But when it comes to the Dark Order, I think it's possible that depending on when these matches take place, like if the Dark Order match happens before the Dark Order versus House of Black match happens before the Young Bucks match.
It's not Young Bucks are next week. Young Bucks are in Omega or maybe Omega. Young Bucks match is next week. So
the Dark Order isn't next week also.
Is it?
No, I don't know. I don't
think they announced that was also
okay. Because the only thing I was thinking is if like Dark Order gets eliminated before the Young Bucks even have their match, then that would open up Hangman to not have to align with Dark Order. You know what I mean? Like if they were already out, then he could be like, oh man, like my team is out, so like there's nothing stopping me from teaming with the Young Bucks. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's the only thing they announced for next week from Trios action is the Young Bucks match. So unless they add the Dark Order match, and then that goes on first or something, then the Young Bucks match is first.
I'm gonna predict Kenny comes back next week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I think we just get Kenny and the Young Bucks at that point. Then I think that makes the most sense.
I agree with you, and we will see. With Money Mark says Miro cost House of Black. See, I think that could be a possibility as well. And the story is Dark Order against Young Bucks and Hangman, and then sort of what does Hangman do? Does he just play neutral? Does he try to help Dark Order? Does he help the elite guys? But that sort of turns him heel, because if he turns against Dark Order, like that's probably not the best way to go about it. And I think they want to keep Omega and the Bucks faces, at least for right now, because Undisputed Elite is heel, and so that's the feud. There's options there, and we'll see which way they go. The story is Dark Order, though. I still feel that House of Black is probably ending up in the finals. It just feels weird to beat them, to have Dark Order beat them. But Miro costing them would be the way to sort of do it, since Miro did say last night of like, he didn't reveal his black eye, but he did say last night of like, I'm going to use this as power now, and I'm coming to still like destroy House of Black. So costing them this championship or this place in the tournament would probably be the way to go.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the eye, I thought that was awesome that Sting had the face paint like he had been sprayed in the face by Malachi last night. That was sick. They got to make an action figure for that too, for Sting. But yeah, I like the continuity they have with like the whole misting people, like kind of the poison and the way it takes over like your face and stuff and messes your eye up and stuff. Like it's pretty cool how they've done that. I agree though with you. I think that House of Black has been protected so well, and they mean a lot to the show. And I don't think that they're gonna lose up until the finals if it is them versus the Young Bucks and Kenny. Although I will say, like I personally, I'd love to see the Best Friends make it to the finals. Like I love Orange Cassidy. I think he's he's fantastic. And then like Trent and Chuck, I still to this day, like one of my favorite matches in AEW history is that parking lot brawl they had with Santana and Ortiz. Like I think that's still like a slept on AEW match. Like that was incredible. Like and Trent and Chuck I think are really damn good. They just get kind of overshadowed sometimes. But so there's a lot of good options. Even Aussie Open and Osprey versus Death Triangle, like that's an unpredictable outcome. Like I'm gonna probably choose Death Triangle because like they're more of like the established AEW group, but like I mean you can't count out Will Ospreay, and I mean the matches are gonna be great. So I think they've put together a really badass tournament for the trios, and there's also still like
everybody's recruiting. Stokely's trying to recruit every single person that comes up on screen. He's got Ethan Page. He tried to recruit Gun Club. Mark Sterling's out here trying to recruit everybody. QT Marshall, the Factory, they're trying to recruit a bunch of people. They're trying to recruit Starks and Hobbs and anybody else that walks on screen as well. It's recruiting season for a lot of these stables. The trios, they got the trios titles now. It's like, oh shit, we need to bulk up our stables here.
Which I'm all for it. I think it's interesting, and you know there's still 5-6 teams or something like that, trios teams right now that aren't even in that tournament that like they already have a really good base for a division already, and it's only going to keep getting better and more interesting. Like I mean at some point, I mean CM Punk and FTR I think will be a trio. You know, like there's a lot of really cool stuff that they have the possibility of doing with this. And I've always been a fan of 6-man matches. Like when the Shield was at their peak in WWE, I thought that they should have tried to pull the trigger then when they had like them and the Wyatt family and New Day. And like they had a lot of good trios and they could have built more. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity back then.
I love those Shield days because it was literally just like, hey, here's the Shield against anybody. And it's just a great match every single time. It was all, and for the most part, it was like, Danielson, Kane, and like a friend. Didn't matter who
Ryback.
it was. Okay, great match. Like, the Shield 6-men were just like always the highlight of WWE TV during that time.
Yes.
If they could have done a trios division, maybe they would have, but they don't even put, at least back then, they didn't put like much stock into a tag division, so they definitely weren't.
No. Back then, like Rollins and Reigns were just like the tag champs because they just needed them to have belts, and like Ambrose was the US champ. I'll always give that credit. You know, I think if you're talking strictly WWE, and granted, keep in mind, you know, I grew up through the Attitude Era, the mid 90s through all of this. And I honestly think if you're talking strictly WWE, I think the Shield's the best WWE faction ever. Like when you look at like the actual overall landscape of what it did for that company, like in like making Reigns their next quote unquote kind of Cena. Rollins has been a perennial main eventer. Ambrose went on to become, you know, one of the top guys outside of the company. But obviously, you always can make the argument for like DX, and you know, there's been some good stables. But I think when you take 3 guys who were like relatively unknown to like the mainstream, I mean, Reigns was completely unknown. Ambrose and Rollins were known if you pay attention to the indies, but for 3 people to come in and make that kind of impact and just immediately start having those kind of matches and the kind of matches that kind of changed the work rate of like the brand overall. Like once they started having those matches, that's when you started seeing more and more of the kind of like indie people of that generation starting to also kind of break out. And NXT, I think NXT success also is a trickle down from how successful the Shield was so fast. And like, so anyway, I just want to throw that out there too. Like, you know, I bash the WWE more than I probably should, but like when they do it right, they do it right. And like I think the Shield was a smash hit, and when they disbanded them, it was the perfect time too, because they had beaten everybody. They'd beaten Evolution multiple times. There was nothing left to do, and I did not expect Rollins to be the one to turn. So like I want to throw that out there that like I think the Shield was like a massive success, and I think a big part of it was that we got to see all these just badass 6-man matches, and it like helped really establish them as like a force in the company.
Yeah, they were great. I'd probably go New Day as far as best stable.
Understandable. That's understandable.
I have nothing against the Shield, especially like Reigns is the biggest star in WWE. Rollins has been doing great stuff like his entire run, and even Ambrose's run like was, especially now if you want to compare it to John Moxley, not on that level, but his run was fine.
Still won the world title.
Yeah.
You know?
And now as Jon Moxley, like, yeah, I just called him like one of my favorite performers. And I think he is one of the top stars in all of wrestling, just the way he carries himself and everything. So I get that. I really like New Day and the longevity and the tag team matches they've had also. And, you know, 2 guys have been world champion. Their runs weren't great, but that's not their fault. And I think Woods is one of the most underrated performers in all of wrestling.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's a totally reasonable. Like, I'm not going to argue against that. Like, I totally understand that. And especially when you take into account 2 of them did win the world title. With the Shield, all 3 of them did. But I think Xavier Woods, like, could potentially be the world champion before his career's over.
Should be.
It's totally possible. Yeah.
He should be. I agree. Roman Reigns. You should take it all over the gaming community and everything. And then they'll never promote it like they did with Big E, who was all over boxing events. And they never mentioned it on television or anything like that. Very sad.
He's not. Well, you know, there's only one person who can win this title from Roman Reigns, and there is more than one royal family in wrestling.
Stu Grayson.
Well, him too. But dude, how do you feel about this? This is a little off topic and just real quick because it's on my mind. And I talked about it with Doug on Tuesday.
You're gonna bring Cody Rhodes into this discussion, aren't you?
Yeah. So WrestleMania. If they go through with plans for Rock versus Roman, like let's say that they actually finally get to lock that down, and it's like it's happening, you can't pass that up. I get that. Like if you have the opportunity to bring the Rock and you can do the Rock and Roman, you have to do that through WWE. Totally understand. They're trying to make a really big deal out of night 1 of WrestleMania every year. It seems like now. Do you do the Rock and Roman on night 1, and Roman beats the Rock? Like he gets that big win over the Rock, and then night 2, Cody beats Roman for the title. Because I think that makes like Cody's win even bigger because the whole world just saw Roman beat the Rock, which is like going to be a huge mainstream deal. And then the next night, like Cody is the guy who like beats that guy to like, you know, now they have another guy on that same level. It seems like.
I think Cody should beat Brock Lesnar night 1. And then Roman beats The Rock.
I love that.
Night 1. Yeah. And then Cody beats Roman in about 10 seconds, night 2 in the main event. And that's how we cap off WrestleMania. And Brandy should beat Becky and Ronda as well.
We don't have to go that far. I love Cody, but we don't have to go that far.
And then we get the big picture of Cody and Brandy holding up all the titles at the end of WrestleMania night 2 in Hollywood. And then the next night on Raw, they drop them and they say they're going to make movies or something. they're going to do reality television. That's how you book Cody Rhodes to win the championship. And you get Brandy involved as well. And then the Raw after, you know what? Instead of dropping them, MJF comes out and confronts Cody. Yeah, how about that one, Stephen Jensen?
Those are the kind of things.
Comes out.
If that actual, I mean, we could take the Brandy stuff out, but if the rest of that happens and like Cody beats Brock, because I think here's the thing: if they do something like that, I do think it's only fair if Cody does also have to wrestle night 1. Because otherwise, like a fresh Cody versus a Roman who just had to wrestle The Rock the night before, it makes Cody look a little bit weaker because like he got to wrestle like a damaged goods Roman Reigns the next night. But if Cody beat Brock night 1 and then beat Roman night 2 for the title, and then MJF debuted in WWE, you'd probably
would you go to the sperm bank and donate like all of your sperm because you would be coming so much after these 3 nights of actions.
Call it a work for a week.
Yeah, just be like, here, I got like pretty much all the sperm in my body to donate to you, like after what I just witnessed on WWE television.
Hey man, I mean, well, it's one of those things where like, if they were doing those kind of things, you would hear me marking out for WWE television. It'd be the first time in a long time that was the case. I'd be real happy. I've been saying it for a long time. I want to watch Raw on Mondays and like be excited and like get back into it. And I'm excited for the future of the company. I really am. But there's no way of getting me more excited than if they put that world title on Cody, especially if you beat Roman for it, if he was the one to do it. And if MJF came in, that really piques my interest. So
I think I'm a year early on MJF. I'm pretty sure his contract's not up till 2024, but whatever.
Yeah.
This is a complete fantasy scenario. So in this fantasy scenario, MJF comes in the night after Cody beats Brock and Roman on back-to-back nights.
Yes.
Anything else on the AEW? So by the way, this was going to be my spotlight topic, but I didn't want to go too mean. I'm going to mention this. Since people brought up Miro costing House of Black, this sucks. That's awful. Julia Hart with, come with us. I do like Miro's comment of like, only one woman can touch me. It's not you. Can we do something better with Miro? This House of Black stuff does nothing for me. It's not good stuff. I don't care about this dumb eye thing. Some people, it affects them forever. Some people, Cody just, took a shower and he was fine a week after getting misted. It's dumb. I don't like it at all.
I like the concept of it, but like it is inconsistent. The thing with Miro, I don't want to talk about it for too long. Because then we got other topics to get to, but with Miro, he's just a product of kind of being lost in the shuffle, and it's terrible. But it's tough to book him, I feel like, because he's too good to just like have him going out there and losing consistently. But he isn't like, I don't think he's figured into being like their world champion anytime soon either. So like he's in the same position someone like Lance Archer's in, it feels like, where they're in like that Max Holloway spot of rankings where like they're going to just keep knocking off contenders, right, but like they can't get the title. I mean, obviously Holloway was the champion before, but like with Volkanovski being the champion, Holloway can't beat Volkanovski. He's tried 3 times now. And I feel like Miro's kind of in the same spot where like he can beat all these other people, but it also kind of knocks contenders off from being able to get towards the title.
Have him. Can I just get some banger Miro matches? Can you just give me Miro against Buddy Matthews? How come Buddy Matthews doesn't wrestle? Why don't they put this man in the ring more? Tony Khan's all about like, hey, let's just book great matches. Can I get some great Buddy Matthews matches? Can I get some great Miro matches? Just give me a singles match between these guys. I assume we'll get that at some point. That's all I want. I don't need to see Brody King and Darby Allin 30 times. Coffin match was great, don't get me wrong, but I don't need to see this. Give me some banger Miro. I don't need Jay Lethal on my television at all right? Cutting promos and doing his shit with Sanjay Dutt's great. Satnam Singh. Like, I don't need this stuff. Just give me Miro matches. Come on. What are we doing out here?
They should have Miro out there just kicking ass more often on TV. That's for sure.
I don't need Luchasaurus doing squash matches, okay? Like, no offense to Luchasaurus, but really? This is what we're going to do? Cool.
Especially when it's Anthony Henry. Like, I don't want to see him get squash. They should do something with him.
Yeah. I don't need these Luchasaurus squash matches. Give me a cool Miro squash match because Miro rules. Luchasaurus is there. Knock it off. Let's move on. Let's move on to WWE.
You want to be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
Stephen Jensen.
Yeah.
We pick these spotlights every week. It's stuff that we're interested in. It's stuff we want to talk about. And you've admitted on this show, you said many times on this show that like you're not the biggest WWE fan. You even said today, like, you bury them more than you probably should. And I don't even think you're that harsh on them. Right. But you're not the biggest WWE fan. And that's what I love about doing this show with you, is because I almost force you to watch WWE. You know, I apologize for that many times. And then, you had me watch the indies, which I appreciate. Your WWE spotlight, you just messaged me and you said, Quincy Elliott is tight.
Yeah.
Is he like Ethan Page? Does he have the tightest tits in the game? Does he have a tight ass? Are his punches tight? Like,
no. So I thought it was hilarious because I saw on the description of the video you left that like as the topic, like Quincy Elliott is tight. So no, what I didn't
know what this meant.
No, so
I fully admit, I force you to watch WWE. You were forcing me to watch fucking NXT Level Up because if you Google or if you YouTube Quincy Elliott, all of his stuff is from Level Up. I don't even know if this man has been on NXT television.
No.
So I'm watching Level Up to see, okay, who is Quincy Elliott? All apologies to Level Up and Quincy Elliott. I've not watched any of this stuff until Stephen Jensen told me Quincy Elliott is tight and essentially forced this in front of what makes Quincy Elliott tight, Stephen Jensen?
So I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. I messaged Jeremy, my spotlight. I said, my WWE topic is Quincy Elliott is tight. And Jeremy's immediate response was, who the fuck is Quincy Elliott?
Yeah.
So what I mean by Quincy Elliott is tight, Jeremy. So I don't know how hip you are to the lingo, but
not at all.
Tight, I mean like he's awesome. He's cool. Like I like him.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, he's tight. So that's all I meant by that. The reason I wanted to bring him up this week is because, for one, there was nothing WWE wise. I don't think that I was going to be that interested in.
Dexter Lumis is back. You didn't have any interest in that guy?
Yeah, I saw that he was not really worth talking about, though. I don't think. Hey, look, no, shout out to Sam Shaw. Really, I'm glad he's got his job back. My only other option was going to be like AJ wrestling The Miz in the main event, like kind of like that's really the only other thing I really would care about probably on the show. And I thought AJ looked good, by the way. I did watch
Miz throwing that chair when AJ was going for the forearm. That ruled. I popped so much for that. I love a good like just toss to the head.
Yeah, a nice risky like
toss to the head.
yeah. But so I was like, you know what? How about instead of like trying to go out of my way to find something, like try to force myself to like something, I just bring up something that I like that I've already seen this week.
That's
and
fine.
For those of you who follow The Weekender over on FightfulSelect.com, I cover NXT Level Up and NXT UK over there on that show every week. So I keep up with NXT Level Up. And I've been watching the progression of Quincy Elliott the last few months. And he's a guy who... Have you seen him yet? Did you look him up?
Yeah, I watched Quincy Elliott stuff. You know, if I'm gonna have to talk about this, I tried to.
I figured you would. You would. I'm not trying to call you out. I figured you would. So, he's really impressive to me. Like he's this guy. He's huge, but like he's throwing like he's agile. He's throwing like nice strikes and uppercuts and stuff. Like it's the charisma factor that I'm like I think he could really be a star in the WWE system. With Vince McMahon there, I think he would have been a guaranteed star because he would have been, even if he wound up being like a comedy act, I think Vince would have been like, this guy looks different. We have him out there dancing for the crowd or whatever. Like he'd figure something out to do with him on Raw or SmackDown, I think pretty fast. Triple H might, I don't know, but I think that he has a lot of potential. I really do. Like, he has kind of this androgynous type of character where he's out there kind of like grinding on dudes. Like he twerks and stuff at people. Yeah. Like it's just, but it's like, it's entertaining. Like he has like a little bit of like the Love Machine viscera in him doing like the pelvic thrusts and stuff, but he's agile and like he's actually been really competent in the ring. And NXT Level Up is a show. I say this all the time where like, if you watch that show with the right expectations, it's actually a really enjoyable show. If you're watching it knowing like, these people are going to do mainly pretty basic moves, but like the whole point of it is just to get reps in front of a live audience. Like that's the whole point, is like just to keep getting better each week to the point where you can quote unquote level up and do something on one of the bigger brands. And I wanted to spotlight Quincy Elliott because like, honestly, he's been impressive. I've enjoyed all of his matches and he beat Zion Quinn this past week, who is a guy who has like that WWE look. Like he's a muscular dude. He's athletic. And he had been getting pushed on NXT Level Up, and it looked like they were going to probably do something with him on NXT. I don't know if they did or not because I don't follow the NXT weekly show. But it's one of those things where, like, I don't know. I felt like a big deal that he beat Zion Quinn because I felt like Zion Quinn was like kind of the guy getting the push on that brand, and for Quincy to win. And I like his finisher too. He does this thing where he like instead of climbing to the top rope, he like pushes himself up like off the ropes and hits the splash and stuff. And I don't know. I just wanted to highlight him because I actually like legitimate. I unironically like really do enjoy what I'm seeing out of Quincy Elliott, and I think he has a lot of potential.
I appreciate that you didn't just go like, "Hey, yeah, Dexter Lumis is back. Let's talk about it. Karrion Kross is back." That happened on SmackDown. Like we could have technically.
I feel like that's been covered enough.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you, but like we still could have like talked about that. I appreciate that you're like, instead of talking about this stuff, let me just go with Quincy Elliott because I enjoy his work. And that is the point of this show is we want to talk about stuff. Maybe it's not always stuff we enjoy, just something we want to talk about, but you enjoy Quincy Elliott's work. It is tight and you wanted to talk about him. And now maybe more people will check out Level Up and Quincy Elliott. I did watch a couple of his matches. I watched the Zion Quinn match. I kind of figured he was winning because you picked this.
I told you, I literally said in our chat, I said he beat Quincy Elliott last week on Level Up.
On Zion Quinn. Oh yeah. Maybe I didn't even read that one. Sorry. But like I figured he'd winning just because you picked Quincy Elliott as a spotlight. I don't think he's a spotlight this guy that just like lost on Level Up. Like what would be the point? Even if he likes him, like I don't know if he's gonna like spotlight that. So I figured he was winning. I watched that match. I was still a little stunned that like, oh yeah, because I know Zion Quinn has been on like NXT TV and it seemed like he'd been kind of getting a little bit of a push there. I think Quincy Elliott's fine. I don't know how this translates to the main roster, especially Triple H's vision. I could see Triple H like utilizing him in like an undercard type of role. He is a character that the audience will probably get behind and like a little fun loving, like opening kind of act type of thing. I definitely think Vince probably would have done stuff the way we're like, this probably isn't good.
Probably like Funkasaurus, something.
Yeah.
Like
Vince would have done.
Yeah.
Vince would have done like offensive shit with him probably. I could see Triple H, and I mean by no means comparing him to Dusty Rhodes or anything, but he's got a little of that like dancing that Dusty would do, everything. And like he'd get hit with a shoulder block and he'd kind of wiggle his shoulders and whatnot. I could see Triple H like kind of utilizing him like that because he does have a certain charisma about him that you're not going to find with other men his size. So I could see Triple H taking a liking to him because of that. Quincy Elliott, guys, get on the Quincy Elliott bandwagon before he dethrones Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 42 in a couple of years. Everyone get on the Quincy Elliott bandwagon right now, along with Stephen Jensen.
Yeah, when he winds up being like a big star in the WWE, y'all can remember this show, that I was, because I've been wanting to talk about him for a second, to be honest. I talk about him often on the Weekender, but like, yeah, I just like, you know what? He got a big win over Zion Quinn. I've been impressed by the guy week after week, and NXT Level Up doesn't get enough love. I get why people don't watch it. I understand, but like, if you go into it, like I said, with the right mindset and just want to see, if you're like me and you like seeing the development, of somebody, especially because someone like Quincy Elliott didn't have an indie run, like he's just straight up performance center. So like, I really like kind of seeing the progression of these talents that I haven't gotten to watch really on the indies, and just see how fast they improve and stuff. And I think Quincy Elliott's a good example of that. So I think he's got a really bright future in the WWE. I legitimately think that.
My WWE spotlight is Ciampa. He did not win the U.S. title, but I love this match against Bobby Lashley. And I love what they're doing with the U.S. title as well, because they don't technically have a world title on Raw right now. I guess they do. Like Roman's supposed to be on both shows, but Roman's like barely on one show. So they don't really have like just a de facto. And I know that there's reports that they do want to like have their own world title and they might end up splitting the titles. We're not to that point yet. That's not something they've done on television. So we don't know if it's going to happen. So they're basically treating the U.S. title as like the biggest thing on Raw, which is good because it does make the U.S. title feel important. The video package they do, like it makes Lashley holding that title feel like a bigger deal. Lashley, I think, is a legit superstar. Like he just has a presence about him to where anything he does feels like a big deal. So him holding that title lends it some extra prestige and credibility as well. And I thought this Ciampa match was great. And they had me on a couple of these near falls, like, because we know Ciampa is such a Triple H guy. And it's like, oh yeah, sure. Like Ciampa, they'll just put the belt on him. And this is a Triple H move because of like that factor. And the fact that like Tommaso Ciampa is a very great professional wrestler. Bobby Lashley, great professional wrestler. Like they had me on some of these near falls. I thought this match was great. I think if you haven't watched it, go out of your way to watch this match. And I like what Lashley's doing, and Ciampa, he's getting the spotlight with Triple H. He won the triple threat match. He beat AJ Styles in the singles match, as well as this great match against Lashley. They're clear. We know he's a Triple H guy. We know they're going to elevate him. I thought we were going to get Gargano at the end of the show. I still think we're going to get Gargano in WWE at some point very soon. We'll see if they align up. Ciampa did the Gargano, whatever, the Gargano lock.
The Gargano escape.
Yeah, Gargano escape. Like he did that in this match. So more teases there. But yeah, Tommaso Ciampa, like just great job the past couple of weeks under Triple H, having the matches we know he's capable of. Cutting promos on the social media. He's been cutting some great promos. I think being aligned with Miz is always that guy that I understand the knock on him. He's that safe guy that can just elevate anybody and get him used to the WWE system and the WWE style, like main roster kind of stuff. And he did that with Ciampa. Now with Triple H coming in, Ciampa already has like the NXT experience and stuff. Good stuff from Tommaso Ciampa these past couple of weeks. Good stuff with the United States title. Bobby Lashley, just a fucking brick house of a force who has been great in this U.S. title run as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. There's somebody with like a leaf blower outside my window, by the way. Hopefully that isn't going through. That's so annoying when they don't tell me when they're going to do this stuff. Anyways.
Don't punch him in the face, Stephen Jensen.
But no, I thought the Gargano escape was really cool too when you locked that in, because that's, I think, foreshadowing also, because I think Gargano is coming back to the WWE. And even Corey Graves on commentary during that, he was like, if you want to do a submission, you have to do it yourself. It's just like, we're getting a lot of DIY references. Him aligning with The Miz, I still don't totally get that. But that's on me for not watching the show weekly. But it is something. It's nice to see that Ciampa's got a good spot on the show. And like you said, us knowing he's a Triple H guy, it makes it even more interesting, because you feel like he could actually get some big wins. You're like, hey, if Triple H has his back, he could beat Lashley. And I thought they made Ciampa look really good. I thought they made Lashley look good in his defense. I thought it was all really solid. Ciampa kept going for the fairy tale ending, and Lashley kept powering out, which also makes sense for Lashley. Like that's on brand for him too. Like it's gonna be tough to get a guy like him in a move like that and execute it. And Lashley kept powering out of it, and I think the verdict's still out for me on like how I feel about Ciampa on the main roster. Once again, part of it is because I don't watch it as often, and the other side is like he's an older guy who he looks very old as well. I mean, like with that
70,
he looks super old, but he can go in the ring. I mean, that's unquestionable. It's just a matter of like, what does WWE really have for him long term? Is it him and Gargano as a tag team when Gargano comes back? Is it the two of them feuding again? But like, I feel like we've seen that enough. I don't know. I don't know but the good thing is it's optimistic. It's an optimistic position to be in, I think, if you're Ciampa or a fan of Ciampa right now, because and I think a big part of it obviously has to do with Triple H taking over creative, because I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer over here, but like Ciampa has already looked more successful than like the last few weeks than I thought he would ever look on the main roster in the WWE under Vince. So that's a good sign for him.
Apparently Vince liked him. I mean, I feel like everyone says Vince likes me. Vince spoke highly. Like Malachi was like, yeah, Vince loved all my shit. And then like he released them. So right. I think Vince tells everybody that he likes them. And then what he actually does with them are different things. I do think pairing him with Miz was a sign of like some sort of confidence, because they put Miz with people like they kind of like they like, and they want to see how they're going to do. And I think Ciampa did very well. As far as the pairing with Miz, the fiance just messaged me like, I watch Raw every week, which is a lie, and she doesn't understand like the pairing with Miz. I didn't quite get it at first either. It's just like, oh, this seems sort of random, but that's what they do on WWE. I do think they were paired basically because it was like, hey, Ciampa, we need to get him used to the WWE main roster style. Miz is the guy to 100% do that. I think that was more of what it is. Like, does it make sense from a logical standpoint? Not really, but Ciampa's called himself like the greatest sports entertainer ever. Like that was the brand he was using in NXT during the Gargano feud. Miz is a very great sports entertainer, so I can kind of see how that works. I think Ciampa, I don't think he's gonna be world champion or anything. I bought he was gonna be US champion on Monday. I could easily see him winning one of those secondary titles and holding it. The Gargano thing still looms. I'd be happy if they just split them.
Yeah.
And you got to reference it, but I don't need them immediately feuding. I don't need them immediately tag teaming. We've been there, done that with this stuff. Like, let that breathe a little bit. Because I think Gargano, there's bigger things in store for him than like, hey, let's align him with Ciampa. I don't need main roster just being NXT Black and Gold from a few years ago, where I thought that product was even getting a little bit stale with some of the stuff they were doing.
Sure. No, it's totally fair. And I think I read something recently that apparently Shawn Michaels, I guess, had reached out to Johnny Gargano personally. Yeah. So like, I'd imagine he's on the way back, which is great for him. You know, hopefully it works out well for him. And yeah, I'm glad that you chose Ciampa as the spotlight this week, because it gave me a reason to go out of my way to kind of catch up on what he's been doing on Raw. And like I said, he is doing much better right now on the main roster. And this, once again, obviously has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with the former creative. But like, it looks like he's in a good spot on Raw, and so I'm happy for him.
We move on to our other spotlights, Jensen.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
Bandito coming to Impact. He's going to debut at Emergency tomorrow night. Emergency. I always call it the wrong thing. Sorry, Impact. He's going to debut tomorrow night against Ray Horus. Like, this should be a absolute banger of a match. I definitely think that. I don't think anybody's doubting that this match isn't going to be great. I'm more interested in like Bandito's overall place in Impact, because it does seem like this might be more of a as long-term as it could be kind of thing. Bandito will probably still work for various companies and everything, but by the way he's talked, it seems like he's kind of working more dates with Impact after this. And, you know, I think he can certainly X Division. You know, he was the top guy in ROH, and, you know, say what you will about his run, ROH was in a very weird spot, but I think Bandito can be a guy that can be sort of a top guy, like Bandito versus Josh Alexander. Like, sign me up for that. That'd be a great match. Like, where do you see Bandito fitting overall in Impact?
I think he has definitely the potential to be one of their top guys for sure. I mean, and this match, I believe it's him and Horace's both of their debuts in Impact against each other. So, and by the way, I need to reach out to Sean and Denise. I don't know if we're doing a post show for that tomorrow night or not. Because y'all also have like the Rampage and SmackDown post show.
I don't
on Fridays.
have shit. I quit.
No, I mean Fightful. But I need to find out, because me and Denise usually do the post shows for Impact for their pay-per-views, but they're also not usually on Fridays, like head to head with SmackDown and Rampage. So anyway, I got to find that out, and I'll keep y'all updated on like my Twitter if we're going to be doing that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Bandito in Impact. I think he'd fit in immediately as a major threat to the X Division title, like you just said. I think him and Speedball, Mike Bailey, like that's like sign me up all day for that.
Yeah, they've already had like classics against each other. So
right.
Put that on in front of more of an audience. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Exactly. With like the X Division title on the line, like get some prestigious gold there. And then the in the world title scene, same thing with Josh Alexander. Like, the thing with Bandito that I think is underappreciated is I think he's one of those guys that he's really impressive to watch on screen, but if you get to see him live, it puts you get another perspective on him, because he's really impressive live. Like especially if you can get like up close to the ring, seeing the way he moves and how athletic he is and how like what kind of shape he really is in. Like when he really, I'll talk about this when we talk about Battle Slam in a second, but like I saw Anthony Ogogo live at Battle Slam. I'm not a huge Anthony Ogogo fan, but seeing him live, I was like, oh, I get why they want to push it like this. Like, he's massive in person. Like, the TV doesn't do him justice. Like how good looking of a dude this guy is. Like, I get why companies would find him marketable. But yeah, Bandito is the same kind of boat where like he's got a great look and he's fantastic in the ring. I'm not a fan of the 21 plex. I think it's a badass move. I just wish he didn't do it as often, because I don't like the super particular setup for it and everything. But it is a very impressive move, especially live. Like, once again, when I saw him do that live, I was like, damn, that looks really, really hard to pull off. So yeah, I think they have an immediate main event level guy in Bandito, and he should be. I think he's a guy who could have been. I'm actually still kind of puzzled on why he isn't a part of AEW. I felt like he would fit like a glove there, especially with him being a part of All In and everything. But there's spots in Impact that are open, right? You know, and like AEW is pretty convoluted. They have a lot of talent there, and they're still trying to figure out what to do with everybody. Impact, there's spots, and I think Bandito is going to be a big asset to them. Whether it's X Division, World Title, some sort of tag team thing. I mean, like you got an immediate main event level player in Bandito, in my opinion.
I agree. And Bandito would carry the ROH world title for a time. And AEW, they just brought in Roosh as well, like Dragon Lee, maybe not coming in. I mean, he's going to be on their television. I don't know if that's like a long-term deal or anything like that. He'd probably just get lost in AEW. He'd have great matches, but that would be it. Impact, they need some like main event kind of guys. And this is not a knock on Alex Shelley at all. I absolutely love Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley is headlining this show against Josh Alexander. So if you're using Alex Shelley in 2022 as a headliner, like there are definitely headlining spots in Impact, and Bandito can easily slot into there. And I think Alex Shelley 100% deserves that. He rules. Chris Sabin, same thing, absolutely rules. Using these guys in headlining spots shows that, hey, we have spots available who can, we need guys who could be like kind of top stars in this company. I think Bandito makes a lot of sense to push in those spots, along with doing exhibition stuff as well.
Yeah, and this ties in, is a good transition to my other spotlight as well. So Karl Fredericks announced on, I think it was August 1st, he tweeted out that he's no longer with New Japan Pro Wrestling, that his contract had run out and that he's not going to re-sign. And the reason that I want to bring this up right now is because one thing that I brought up when I brought up Karl Fredericks as the spotlight this week is where we'd like to see him next. Because I think Karl Fredericks he's super charismatic. He's great in the ring. He's still young. Like I think he could be a big asset. A friend of the spotlight, a guy we've had the opportunity to interview, me and you. And I think based on kind of what we just said just a second ago, like I could echo a lot of what I said about Bandito, about Karl Fredericks, not from like an in-ring standpoint or a character standpoint. Bandito, he's accomplished more and he has more of like a name value and he's more recognizable and this and that as of right now. But Karl Fredericks, like I saw him wrestle Josh Alexander a few months ago and it was great. So like Karl Fredericks, he could go head to head with Josh Alexander in Impact. Fredericks, I think, could do great in the X Division, or like I think Karl Fredericks could do great in Impact Wrestling. I think that like there's spots available there right now, and he's a guy who can kind of be positioned as an Impact homegrown guy because he never really he was like LA Dojo and like NJPW USA and that kind of stuff, but like he wasn't like a Tanahashi or a Naito or an Okada type of guy with New Japan. So I'd like to see Karl Fredericks really anywhere, and I know he's popping up in indies and stuff, but like I want to throw that out there too. Like shout out to Karl Fredericks. He's leaving NJPW. I think he had a really good run there for the few years he was there, but and I'd like to see him whether it's NXT or AEW or anywhere else. But I really think that he could really thrive immediately in Impact Wrestling.
Karl Fredericks, same thing with Bandito. There are spots in Impact Wrestling. There are main event spots in that company that they need to elevate some of these guys. I've been banging the Chris Bay drum forever. Yep, Ace Austin, another young guy who should probably get elevated up to these spots. But like they have plenty of spots where they can be like, yeah, this is a main event guy. And because the X Division is kind of like it's their secondary title. There's a certain style, but it can be any style, and all these guys wrestle a similar style nowadays anyway. Like Fredericks could easily slot in there into Impact. I don't know, like he very good in New Japan, very good on New Japan Strong. I don't know where he fits right now, and it's possible that he just does some indies and continues to try to stand out and everything. At Karl Fredericks, we did interview him. He's a great guy. Impact would be a good landing spot for him. I think anywhere else would certainly be maybe lost in the shuffle type deal. So Impact's good landing spot. Maybe if he can sign on with ROH, whatever they're doing with television, if anything, might be good. I think those are probably the two best. Look, if I'm NWA, I'm probably knocking down his door because they need anything that's not Tyrus. So I'd Karl Fredericks is a nice piece that they could possibly acquire there. So I think you'll have options. And I think for a lot of these companies who need something new, who need something different, Fredericks is a guy that can slot in there and be one of the top guys for these companies that need to push guys who, get no offense to, I'm definitely not comparing Shelley to Tyrus or anything, but push some of these guys who we haven't seen on television for the past 20 years.
Yeah. And yeah, with Fredericks, like, I like we were saying, I think he could be like, he can have an immediate impact in Impact. I know it sounds, have an impact in Impact. But really anywhere, I think he can be an asset. Like, cause like you were saying, if you were to go to like NXT, they'd have to kind of like rebuild him like for that audience. In AEW, he'd probably be more like AEW Dark for a second. I thought it was really interesting and kind of telling that he wasn't a part of the Forbidden Door, but like Clark Connors and stuff was. Like, I thought that he should have had some sort of presence on that show too. And maybe the writing was on the wall that maybe he wasn't going to be staying around that time. And that makes a little more sense now. But NWA, that's I think more of a case of like, if you want to go to the NWA, if you're him, like, I think they're going to have interest. It's a matter of like, if he's interested also in going.
I don't know anybody. I mean,
yeah, but I will say, like, I really think Impact would probably be the best landing spot for him. Cause like we've said, he can immediately be, like I said, he had a great match with Josh Alexander a few months ago on NJPW Strong. And I'd like to see them run them back in Impact in front of more eyes. And he'd fit in anywhere, X Division, tag team, stable, whatever. Like, and once again, he's still young and like he's only going to keep getting better. And you can't teach the it factor. Like, he has the it factor. He's a very charismatic guy, and he's really good on the microphone too. So I think there's a lot of potential for Karl Fredericks in Impact Wrestling. He has potential to be a star anywhere, but I think he can be an immediate star in Impact.
Yeah. Let's go on to the indie spotlight.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Stephen Jensen double dipping this week as the king of the indies. You have, let's begin with Jaden Newman winning Scenic City Invitational. You interviewed Jaden a couple days after he won.
The day after, yeah.
Oh, there you go. So the day after, we do have an article up on that on Fightful. So talk about, Jaden Newman. He says it in the interview, like, 3 years ago, we were sitting up top here. I told you, like, I'm going to be in the ring. I'm going to be in this thing. 3 years later, he won the whole damn thing.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch. Like, he's another guy where, if you want to know more about Jaden, me and Jeremy right here, we've talked about, we've interviewed him on the show. Yeah, that was really cool. I was at Battle Slam. Well, I guess I can lump both of my spotlights kind of together. And it's kind of perfect because I only have a few minutes anyway before I got to clock in for the shoot job. But I was at Battle Slam this past Sunday in Atlanta, and while I was at the show, I had noticed Jaden was in the crowd as a fan, and he was sitting around like AC Mack and Ashton Starr, some of the other indie talents that I get to watch often, and I kind of clicks, and I'm like, wait, Jaden's here. He just won the SCI last night. I watched the whole tournament, obviously, and I was like, this is great. I can. So I walk up to him, I start talking to him for a second. And intermission comes up. They're like, we're going to do a 6-minute intermission, like, halfway through the show. So I walked up to Jaden and I was like, hey man, can we do like a quick audio interview, like during the intermission? He's like, yeah, man. So like we go outside, and it was great. Cause like, I was the first guy, I got to get his first interview after winning the tournament. And yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's cool that he remembers that too. Cause like me and him literally, like, that was when he was just a fan trying to get onto the show years back. And I remember having that conversation with him at Saudi Daisy High School up in like the top of the bleachers, and him telling me like, one day I'm going to get in this tournament. Like, that's like my main goal in wrestling, is like just to get in this tournament. And he's been in it a few times now, but like he won the whole thing. So I'm incredibly happy for Jaden. And one of the things that I think makes it really cool, and you put it in the article that you wrote from the interview that I did with him, which I appreciate, but he basically said, like, this also doesn't come across as like some sort of like thing that was handed to him. Like, this isn't like, just because you're a Chattanooga guy, you won the Chattanooga tournament. Like, no, you won a prestigious pro wrestling tournament because you're a great professional wrestler. And Jaden's only going to keep getting better. And I mean, you can mark my words, you can find proof of it. since the last SCI tournament a year ago, I've tweeted it multiple times. I've said it multiple times at the Weekender. I said for an entire year that I was guaranteeing that Jaden Newman would win the SCI tournament in 2022, and he did it. And I'm very, very happy for him. And then as far as Battle Slam, another great show. It's airing tonight for free on Fight TV. So if y'all want to check out Battle Slam, it's going to be tonight, the actual show. I thought it was live on Sunday. I didn't realize that it was pre-taped. Otherwise, I would have sent the results over. Yeah. I saw that the results are out there though through Cage Match, and I think y'all got them up on Fightful as well. But I would have sent y'all the results. I thought it was live. But that was another great show. I don't want to spoil anything, really. I mean, if you look at my Twitter, a lot of stuff will get spoiled from when I was tweeting at the show. But I don't want to spoil too much if y'all are planning on watching the show tonight. But what I will say is the card is subject to change. There's quite a few things that weren't advertised or had to get switched around last minute. But I thought it was the best Battle Slam show they've done so far. And I think that Lil Scrappy worked his ass off out there. Like, he really, really worked hard to put on a good match with Baron Black. And obviously Baron deserves a ton of credit for putting it together, what they accomplished. I was impressed with, for a guy who doesn't wrestle, like I thought he clearly put in the work to try to make it something. And I really respect that. And there was a lot of good matches. There was a lot of really good matches. The opener was probably my favorite match of the whole night. There was a 4-way match that I think is going to blow people away. It was fantastic. So shout out to Battle Slam, Baron Black, and yeah, Jaden Newman. It was great to catch up with him again. And I told him, I was like, hey man, we got to get you on the spotlight again sometime soon. And he's down, so it's like, it was cool. And, I wish I would have been able to interview some more people. Like AC Mack was sitting right there, and I wanted to talk to him on the record, but I only had a 6-minute window. And the problem with interviewing people at Battle Slam, and the reason I wasn't able to interview Baron this time, is because the music is so loud in the venue that like you just can't get audio without the music drowning you out. So an intermission, I can do it because I could take Jaden outside and the music's kind of drowned it out. For me to be able to interview Baron after these shows, I usually have to wait an hour after the show ends because everyone has to get out of the building. The music has to stop playing. The ring has to be broken down. And I just couldn't stay because I had to work early the next day for my job. So I just couldn't. But it's one of those things where I really appreciate Baron, and I appreciate the whole Battle Slam team for the hospitality and having me come to those shows. And I can't wait for the next one already. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think for the people who watch Battle Slam tonight, they're going to really like what they see. I highly recommend checking it out tonight for free on Fight TV.
Check out Battle Slam. It's their third show, and Lil Scrappy is there, and he's beating the shit out of Baron Black. And we love Baron Black. He's been on the show as well. But Lil Scrappy,
show. Yep.
Beating up Baron Black is good stuff. And shout out, as you said, to Jaden Newman winning SCI, which has become like one of the biggest indie tournaments, if not the biggest indie tournament. I mean, PWG Bola is still like the top of the top when it comes to that. But like otherwise, SCI feels like the biggest indie tournament outside of a bowl. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but I mean, you would know better than I would.
Well, for me, I'm a little biased, but like for me, the tournament I look forward to the most every year is the SCI. Bola obviously is always huge. Another shout out I definitely give would be ICW NHB, ICW No Holds Barred. They have a pit fighter tournament that they do with every year, which is really sick. Sometimes like a 2-night tournament. So there's a lot of good indie wrestling tournaments out. I mean, like GCW Tournament Survival. If you're into deathmatch wrestling, that's always a big one. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I would definitely say, like, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, I think the CNA State Invitational is a tournament that everyone should watch if you're a fan of wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Jensen, I know you got to run. Go ahead and plug everything you got to plug.
Yep. Tomorrow night, like I said, I don't know if me and Denise are going to be doing an emergence post show. I need to find that out. I'm going to message Sean and Denise actually right after this to find out. I know there's also the SmackDown post show and the Rampage post show. So I don't know with it being on a Friday if we're doing the review or not. But if we are, I'll make sure to put that on my Twitter. My Twitter is FightTalk _ FIGHTTALK _. Use code FightTalk on IWTV. And listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. It's every Sunday over on FightfulSelect.com. This Sunday, I'm going to Championship District Wrestling. We're going to need to change. I said District Championship Wrestling in the interview, and that's why it's probably screwed up. but I think it's championship district wrestling. And I think on everything that we've put out about it is district championship wrestling. I think it's championship district wrestling. The reason it's confusing, they're doing it at a venue called District in Atlanta. So it's like, it's at the District Atlanta and it's championship wrestling at the District. So it's like, it's confusing, but I'll be there live this Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. And you're about to hear the interview that we did with Diamond Sheik and Jameson Ryan. So I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, I got to go clock in.
Thank you, Jensen, as always. Yes, so we interviewed Jameson Ryan and Diamond Sheik. Great interview. Some character stuff, some not character stuff. Oh, now I'm split screen. Look like my Day After Dynamite cameo here. Day After Dynamite, Fightful Overbooked. I don't know when Will is doing the show today. Hopefully he's feeling better, and I assume he'll be doing the show, and I will do a run-in on that show. There we go. It's just me. So yes, we interviewed Diamond Sheik and Jameson Ryan. Very fun. A lot of laughs on this interview. Diamond Sheik popped me so much with the Rick Ross, talking about Rick Ross. I look forward to that. Everyone can check out their show. The link is there. I'll fix the name of the show because it was a little confusing. But yeah, Championship District Wrestling. It's on Sunday. If you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area, everyone can go check that out. They got Ernest the Cat Miller is going to be appearing on this show. QT Marshall and Anthony Gogo in the main event against the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry. So here we go with our Spotlight interview in the Creator Spotlight with Diamond Sheik and Jameson Ryan.
Welcome to the interview portion of the Spotlight right here on Fightful. As always, I'm Stephen Jensen, joined by Jeremy Lambert, and we are joined today by two men that I'm very happy to have on the show because I plan on attending this show this Sunday live in Atlanta, Georgia. We have District Championship Wrestling coming up. It's going to be a fun show and just bringing more and more great wrestling to the city of Atlanta. We are joined by Jameson Ryan and Diamond Sheik. How are y'all doing today? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, we're doing great, man. I just got out of the gym, just got full of some chicken and beef. I'm all hyped up right now. I'm ready to go.
Sheik, how are you,
I've been training for the last 2 hours to defend this beauty right here, the Diamond Championship belt, the gauntlet match I got on Sunday, because that was part of the deal. I bought into the promotion and they said I had to put this up. But if they think I'm coming in there without training,
put your money where your mouth is, tough guy.
Hey, you know what? I did that once and you took advantage of it. So
hey, you know what? We can get into that in a little bit if they want to talk about it, but that was yours. That's
absolutely.
I
just
think
out here training.
A good deal. I think that's a good place to start, man. I mean, because it's when you see that belt, Diamond Sheik, it draws everyone's attention. I know that you are a celebrity jeweler on top of being involved in the wrestling world. I'm sure those two worlds overlap in a very interesting and exciting way for you. The belt, man, where's the idea come from? And how much is that baby worth? Because that thing looks sick.
Well, there's very few people who can understand what it's worth, because when you get to my level, it's not all about money. I've made enough money. This is status. This means something. If you hold this belt, you're the king of the world. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
This diamond right here is a 50-carat diamond. It's very special to me. And I put it in this belt because
how much is it?
I didn't say a monetary value. I know it's hard for you to think with all that meat and
hey,
muscle. But
if it goes missing before the gauntlet match, don't come
hey, I'm bringing my own security, so
you're already naming yourself as a culprit, Jameson. You can't.
I'm saying it's not gonna be me. It's not.
We never said he was smart. We never said he was the smartest guy in the room. He's lucky. He's really pretty though. He's really pretty good at it. Beautiful motherfucker right there. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
Oh no, you can say whatever.
No, you
want,
can.
Man. All
yeah,
good.
You're
all
good. Yeah.
All right, here's the list of 5 that I wanted to get out of the way. Oh, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, the belt is unique. I've kind of drawn inspiration from some of the bigger belts out right now, as you can see, but I kind of did my own thing with it. I definitely put as many diamonds as I could on this, and this is just everything else in my life, a learning process. So I'm not going to say there's a new belt on the way, but there might be a new belt on the way, so look out for that one too.
And if that one goes missing, it was probably my tag partner, Brandon.
Now he's throwing his tag partner under the bus.
These
Now he's throwing
guys.
his tag partner under the bus.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that guy too.
Our team.
Oh, you think this guy's bad? That guy's sneaky. You gotta watch out for him.
I want to know how this whole thing came about between you two. You're clearly not on the same page.
All right. I'm not gonna let him tell the story because he always messes it up. He doesn't.
I don't mess it up. I tell the truth.
No, you do not tell the truth. Listen, we were right here in this ring. All right. He saw me from across the ring, came up to me and said, "Hey, Sheiky, hey, I'm starting this university. Do you mind? Do you have some capital? You wanna invest in the university? I promise we'll give you returns."
That's almost word for word what I said.
I promise we'll breed athletes and they'll come and buy jewelry from you. And how many athletes have come and bought jewelry from me, Jameson Ryan?
We're still working on the funds.
We're still
working
on the
funds. It takes money to make money. We spent the money. Now we're going to start making the money. It takes time.
Spend money and then make money and then give me the money.
One day,
but this is why this whole thing is coming about, because he's not reliable. This guy, he's snaking the grass.
Whoa! My middle name is Jameson Reliable Ryan. All right.
You change your middle name every week. Every week I ask you what your middle name is, and you keep changing it, and that's why I keep telling my lawyers a different middle name. They keep sending you subpoenas, and you don't come to court.
Loophole.
That's actually a smart strategy. He doesn't get him.
It really is.
He doesn't get him. It's a new middle name.
Hey, you know what? I tell him all the time. He's my Elmer Fudd. I'm his Bugs Bunny. It's a great dynamic. I love it.
I don't even understand the
reference.
I don't even know what that is.
You know, sometimes you just gotta rub his head a little bit, and then he smiles.
It's something about Elmer's glue. I have no idea what.
Are you trying to kill the rabbit? Are you trying to kill the rabbit, Diamond Sheik?
If he's the rabbit, then yes, of course I'm trying to kill the rabbit.
See,
actually,
you know
no,
what?
I'm not trying to
He
kill the rabbit.
With a gun the
I'm
other
trying
day,
to hook
he
the
took
rabbit.
me hostage and threatened me with a gun. That actually happened.
We don't need all that.
By the way,
go watch it.
Really cool guy. Really cool guy.
It was the gun.
We
looked it up.
We did look it up together, yeah. And then I realized, why am I looking up stuff with this guy? It just didn't make any sense.
We were doing so good. We were going to get some nachos. It was working out perfect. And then he just got all upset the way that he does.
You know what? That nacho cheese gets me all the time. That's not fair.
He squeezes his fist real tight, and I tell him, "You're not making diamonds. Relax." And he just,
There seems to be like you guys could be friends here.
Yeah,
we were. He threw it all away.
Listen, I don't mind being the guy's friend, but he's got to pay me back. He's got to pay me back.
I'm working on it. It takes time. We got district. You weaseled your way in here. It's all going to work out.
I came in like a businessman, okay? I came with cash at the door. They let me in because you were too busy lifting weights and playing beer pong or whatever you guys play at your university.
Whoa. We don't drink beer, first of all. It's tequila only.
Okay, tequila pong, whatever you want to call it. You guys were too busy doing that, and you went behind on your payment by 2 days. And guess what? My lawyers found out. We cashed in. I'm 50% owner in district now.
2 days. You can't get a 2-day grace period. You get 3 days to pay rent.
This isn't rent. This is business, which is something you don't understand.
I feel like this could all be used in build-up packages to this Sunday, what we're seeing right now. This is great.
You know what? It's tough to get them in a room.
You know what? I got this guy in a room once.
I just want to try and be there for him, and he pushes me away the way that he does everybody else.
I don't push people away. They're just not on my level. Have you ever sat there and said, "Oh my God, this person is so not on my level. What am I doing in the same room with him?"
I don't even know what that means. Levels? This is wrestling. It's all one flat surface.
Anyways, I had him in a room once.
There's levels.
He weaseled his way out. He tricked me by giving me one of those really nice tank tops. Actually, can I see that tank top? It's really nice.
Hey, BGU.
Yeah, what is that made of?
It's even nicer underneath. You know what I mean?
Hey. No, stop it. Stop. Don't. With your charm. Again, no. You're not weaseling your way out of this one. Sunday, it's going down. I've got my team. He's got his little university people.
Oh, let's talk about his team. His team, Luke Sampson, the gatekeeper over at the Nightmare Factory.
Who, by the way,
he's got the warden, this monster, recently featured on Bleacher Report for how incredible he's been doing lately. And then he's got my arch nemesis, the two worst people I could possibly think of to have to deal with, TSF, Rosario Grillo, and Hunter Knott. These two idiots, for over a year now, have been bragging about how they're the best tag team in the world. They're not even the best tag team that trains out of the Nightmare Factory. All right, that's going to be BGU. These two
wait a
morons
second.
think
What's
they're
your record?
No, you hold on a minute. You just wait your turn. I'm talking right now. Don't cut me off. These two morons think that they're popular because they're over on Twitch and Twitter. I don't care about your followers. The two of you have been ducking me and Bandito. You just wait a minute, Sheik. The two of them have been ducking me and Bull for about 6 months now. We had 2 matches against them. They cheated to win both of them. We were scheduled for 3 more. They blew us off. We had a gauntlet match. They lost in the first round. We won it. Who's the best team, Sheik? Who's the best team?
So all I heard you say was you're 2-1 against the team that I picked, right? Or my team is 2-1 against you. Sorry.
That's
So
not
they
what I
still have
said.
victory over you.
No,
Right?
no,
Is that
no,
what you just said?
They
Three
cheated.
no
Those victories don't even
compete.
count.
You won one.
Yes, all those.
You won with other tag teams in there. You probably used those guys to throw at my guys.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
Yeah. All right. So I have 2 victories over you. You only have 1, and that's what you're bragging about. That? Do you know how to do math? You teach at university, don't you?
We don't. It's about working out. We don't have to go up to the conference meetings.
All right. You put 2 plates on. You take 1 plate off. How many plates do you have left?
That's lopsided. You're going to drop the weight.
Oh, and you're talking about Twitch and Twitter. That's how these people make money.
The other one fell off.
They don't just sit on their butts all day like you at the gym waiting for weights to lift themselves.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I don't even know what I'm
I
saying.
don't sit around waiting for nothing, Sheik. I go
Those
get
are
it.
nice.
I get after
Those
it.
are nice.
I'm all
Those are nice.
hyped up about pre-workout.
Hold on.
I'll come at
Do
you
that again.
like the biggest spider monkey you've ever seen in your life.
Wait, do that again.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Do it again. No, do it again. It was so nice. I want to see it one more time. Come on, one time. Yeah. Look at those are nice, right, guys?
Very, very
Sheik,
nice.
you like that?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
wait a
Stephen,
minute.
those
No,
are nice,
no,
right?
we're not going to do that. Let's move on. Let's talk about the next couple matches here.
Yeah.
Well,
There's plenty to talk about. Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead. I know you got a question.
I hate the guy, but he's so beautiful. So hard.
Sorry,
go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm trying to bring it to
And I
action.
think-
You can catch me all season too long on heels on stars, by the way. You'll see my abs all over the place.
I was looking for a plug, but I think I found one.
Jameson, are you running a pyramid scheme out here?
No, it's a Ponzi scheme. I mean, it's a business where we're going to make money by taking people's money. We're not taking
my money.
They're going to give us some money, and it's going to help us run the university. It'll work out for the best. The public's going to love it. It's a big public affair for everybody involved. Me and Bull are definitely not going to use the money to set up our gyms across the country.
Right. So you were saying it's a business where all these people give you the money up here.
Yeah.
Kind of like a pyramid.
A little bit.
No. Okay. These guys don't get it. All right. So it's Brandon and Jameson at the top, right? And all they have to do is they have to recruit 2 people each, right? So when they recruit 2 people each, and they got 4 people under them. And those 4 people, all they got to do is recruit 2 more people, right? Once they recruit those 2 people,
recruited
then
6 foot 12 inch, weighing 15% of a metric ton, big
And how can
double
you have
bench
that-
bishop.
how can you have that at the bottom of a pyramid? That's too big to be at the bottom.
We
of a
got
pyramid.
he's the whole.
Unless you lay him to the side.
He
If you
holds
lay him
up
to the
one
side,
by himself.
I guess it is kind of a pyramid.
That's on one side. And then
When
we
they
have
took my money, they
Punk
didn't tell me it was a
Parker
pyramid
Lee,
scheme.
along with Brandon and myself holding up the other side. And then shoot you to the base. You fill in the whole middle with all your money.
You didn't tell me it was a pyramid scheme when you took my money.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's a business.
But it's shaped like a pyramid.
That's just how you look at it.
Yeah.
But if you turn a pyramid over, it's still shaped like a pyramid.
But if you turn a pyramid over, that's kind of like how I'm built.
That's
That's
fair.
what this is about, boys. Lifting weights and getting jacked.
Also, if you turn a pyramid over, it's kind of how a diamond's built too.
That's fair also.
That's
wow.
true.
Okay.
Good point. I'll give you that one.
All right. So is anybody keeping score?
I'm winning.
No, we can't let Jameson keep score. We've already learned that unless weights are involved,
I got my
the math is not going to be right.
I think if we keeps reps, it'll be better. Like
yeah.
Right? Yeah. We can keep reps.
All right, sets.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. All right. Anyways, next question.
Okay, next
for me,
question.
right? For me, next one for
well,
me.
this is either y'all can give your take on this. I want to hear both sides actually. Y'all have a legend appearing on this show. More than just the two of y'all, we have Ernest the Cat Miller is going to be appearing at this event, which I'm very excited for. As somebody who grew up in the 1990s, I was a big fan of WCW. I was a massive fan of Glacier, and I loved his partner Ernest the Cat Miller. And like, it's funny because my brother Jameson knows this, but my brother is a boxing trainer out of Atlanta, and he like has these like random interactions with the cat because the cat coaches karate in like the same gyms. But my brother didn't grow up a wrestling fan like I did. So he like was like dapping up the cat for like a year, but just like thought he was like a familiar face he knew through like boxing training. And eventually he like put it all together, and he told me, he's like, Steven, I've been hanging out with the cat for like a year and I didn't realize it. And I was like, oh man, I was so jealous. And then he told me he was wrestling this weekend. Can't wait to see it. What's it like to have a guy of that kind of like legendary status as a part of this show? Not only just a part of it, he's wrestling in a match, right? So I mean, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah. So first of all, your brother actually is my buddy Joe's coach, and Joe, I believe, is undefeated and won his fights all by knockout. So big ups right there. Second of all, for me, it's amazing because me and my dad, Ernest, was one of our favorites when I was growing up watching TV with my dad. But I'm actually going to let Sheik go ahead and take this one because Sheik's got a little bit closer relationship with Ernest than anybody else right now.
So I'm going to backtrack a little bit where you said you mentioned Glacier. There's a guy up here that trains us, and he does a phenomenal Glacier impression.
Yeah,
his name is Raymond Lloyd.
Yeah.
It's very uncanny.
Very small world. He was actually my high school's lacrosse coach when I was growing up too.
So
like, it's
Raymond Lloyd or Glacier?
Well, Coach was it Coach? What was his coach gimmick? I just lost the. Yeah, he had like a Buzz, like Coach Buzz.
Jensen,
something
you
or
lost
other.
a bit.
Anyway, sorry.
I don't know anything about that guy. I just feel like if you had Glacier coaching your lacrosse team, it'd be bad because you'd just be freezing all the balls and sticks, and you guys wouldn't be able to get anything done.
But coming out soon that he's working on. Everybody needs to check out.
Definitely.
Follow Ray on Instagram so you can check out his movie when that gets released.
Yeah. Big production. They've been working on it. Very, very cool stuff. With the cat though, Ernest Miller, definitely an honor to have him on the show. He's coming back to the heart of Atlanta. I don't think he's been there since maybe when he was on TV, and this is a big thing for him. And he's going to come in and, we kind of just like let him do whatever he's comfortable with. And I think he's going to maybe kick some butt. So, it's definitely something you want to keep your eyes on. And just having the tutelage of him and being kind of like a mentor to me and how to, cut a promo and speak. It's just invaluable having the cat in my corner. So I'm very excited that he's going to be joining us at District. And I don't know, maybe he'll come back for another show if we do more and he'll be like a main staple for us. So that's very exciting.
QT Marshall, I think Jensen might have frozen. Okay. QT Marshall is part of this as well. Marshall. Is that guy as annoying as he seems on television? Like, does he have redeeming qualities? You guys seem like you're around him certainly more often than I am, but like on television.
I think it depends. You know what I mean? Like
just the worst.
The factory guys that he hangs out with, he treats them really well because those are his people. So I think if you're his people, he treats you pretty well. And then if you're not his people or you're some annoying losers on Twitter that are trying to get a rise out of him, you might get it.
Yeah.
Does he treat you well, Sheik?
Pretty much. Oh, he treats me really well. He treats me very well. He invited me here to train. He was my coach, and I trained under him, and that's when I learned all my fundamentals. And I'm very solid fundamentally because he drilled it into us. And just like I drilled diamonds into jewelry, man, I get it. You want to make sure they don't get out, that they stay in there. I understand what quality is, and that's what you get here when you train with QT and Cody at this school. So. And again, he'll be in the main event of our show. So if you definitely want to see some good quality wrestling, that main event is going to have a whole bunch of quality for you because it's QT and Anthony Ogogo, who's former Olympic boxer, bronze medalist from the UK, and then you've got on the other side of the ring, you've got the workhorsemen, which is their name says it all, right? They're the workhorses. They come in the ring and they do the thing, and everybody's going to leave happy except for the losers, of course.
Yeah, I think, a big thing to mention too is QT was recently on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. He was part of that. A go-go, like you said, Olympic medalist in boxing. Anthony Henry recently on the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. And JD Drake, if you ask anybody in a locker room anywhere, they'll tell you he's one of the best right now. So that's going to be
100%.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that main event, that tag match. Like, QT, it's been really cool seeing him do his thing on AEW the last few years. And I got to see Anthony Ogogo live at Battle Slam a few days ago. And that was the first time I've seen him like real close, like up close. And that guy's massive.
He's a monster, right?
Yeah.
He's a monster. People don't realize that.
Yeah. On TV, it doesn't do him justice. He's huge.
He's tall. He's built well. He speaks well. He carries himself well. It's almost intimidating being in his presence. And unless you're there, you don't quite get it. So,
yeah. He loves to run his mouth, but he's probably the one guy in the business that can back it up just as easily.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and then the other side, like you said, the workhorseman. I mean, Anthony Henry, I think, has been one of the best guys out of the Southeast for a long time. And he had like a short run in the WWE as Asher Hale, but like then bouncing back after getting back out there. I've always loved this tag team with JD Drake, but it's been cool seeing them being able to team again because, like, I think Anthony, like I said, is one of the best guys kind of out of the Southeast in the last like decade or so. And JD Drake, I've been saying for years, I think he's the most underutilized person in all of AEW. Like, that guy is so good. If you watch him on the Indies, like as like a main event level guy out there, like he's so damn talented, a real throwback. So I think this is the perfect type of main event for y'all to have for this show on Sunday.
Absolutely. JD, like you said, he definitely is a rising star in this business. As far as underutilized goes, QT Marshall as well. Personally, myself, and I know a lot of other people that train at the factory, we've all seen and know what QT's capable of, and he might be one of the best unrecognized wrestlers on earth.
I will actually give QT credit. I was doing a bit with him being annoying. He is annoying on television. His character is very annoying. But as far as in-ring wrestling goes and his character, he's supposed to be annoying. He does a great job. I'll be nice to QT Marshall before he does try to fight me on Twitter. I do like QT, though, as a wrestler. You also train with Cody, or Cody is there. Is Cody there? He's mentioned, I know he just had surgery a few months ago. He says they won't give him a timeline because they're afraid he will try to jump their timeline. Is he already back? Is he doing reps and everything and trying to piss off his doctors by coming back by Survivor Series?
He's not
I haven't there recently. I've been busy with work and a couple other things, the show's particulars, so I'm not sure what's going on over there right now.
I haven't seen him since before July. So
Okay.
And before that he was definitely in a sling. So yeah, I can't say I've seen him.
You guys are moving locations, aren't you?
I saw that today.
Yeah. So they got a 10,000 square foot facility in McDonough, Georgia. And the new brand will be Nightmare Fitness. So it'll be a full inclusive fitness facility. They'll have cardio machines. They'll have lifting machines. They'll have training, nutritionists, which is actually Carolyn, who's QT's wife, Carolyn Kilari. She's a phenomenal nutritionist. She's helped me lose a lot of weight. So she'll be up there, her services. And for right now, from what I hear, the gym's open 24/7. So that's like a phenomenal thing because something that you may not know about pro wrestlers, or you may know about pro wrestlers, is that we don't have the most conventional schedules. So our training sometimes 2 a.m., and we just can't sleep. We just want to get in a ring, hit those reps, get our fundamentals down, and that's great that it's open 24/7. So not that we know too much about it because it was just announced. We're kind of finding out with everybody else, but yeah, I do believe that there's a move in the future.
Yep, I think they're still looking for people for their October camp. I think there's still a couple spots open.
Yeah.
Through Instagram or Facebook or their website.
Hey, I'll say this in all honesty. it's a life changer. If you go through the camp, you stick with it, and you put your heart into it, it will change your life.
Well, Cody says he said it from the very jump of like do the work, and he wants guys that are gonna stick with it and that are gonna continue to put in the work. Like when you first walk in there, I mean, it's Cody Rhodes, it's the Rhodes family, and then QT, the way he's built himself up and gone from the thing is Cody's lackey to everything he's doing in AEW and everything. Like, is it a little intimidating just walking in there the first time? Like, oh, what have I gotten myself into? Sheik, go ahead.
So the first time I walked in here, it was intimidating. And I'm sure if you put yourself in the shoes of anybody that signs up for a beginner's wrestling camp and you've never set foot in a ring, you're a true beginner, you're green as grass, you're going to be intimidated. You're going to come in, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be anxious, you're going to be apprehensive, you're going to be all the above. But I'll say this. Something happened that I did not expect to happen. And that was this man, Cody Rhodes, literally held my arm and ran the ropes with me when I thought that I couldn't do it right. And I run the ropes pretty damn good now. And I think it's just because he's stuck there with me. He's there for the students. He actually gives a damn. He'll come in on film days and watch films with us. He'll come and dissect stuff. Him and QT are possibly the greatest assets to any pro wrestler in training, I would say, in the country. So it is a little intimidating at first. You know, it does give you a little butterflies. I know some guys that had experience that still felt that way. But as long as, like he says, as long as you're going to do the work and get in there, he'll hold your hand and do it with you. So I've experienced that firsthand.
Jameson, how about you? First time you walked into that building, what's going through your head and I guess your stomach?
So when I started, it was actually the One Fall Power Factory. It was just QT and Ray. Cody hadn't come in yet. But it was cool for me because I was at the airport one day and I saw Trent from Best Friends walking through. It was right before AEW started, so I went up to him just being, a mark. Said, hi, how you doing? Excited about AEW. Looking forward to it. And he asked me, are you in the business? Are you a worker? And I said, no. And he looked at me up and down and he was like, you just look like that for no reason? I was like, all right, fair enough. So then shortly after, just an ad popped up for the One Fall Power Factory on Instagram. I sent a message within like 2 minutes. QT sent me a text asking if he could call me. Called me up. We had like a 5-minute conversation. I went in there like the next day, walked in. We talked a little bit. Brought me in the ring. He's like, all right, just start, had me do a couple things. He's like, what do you think? I was hooked, obviously. I've been a lifelong fan since the day I was born. Up until this year, I've seen every episode of Raw and SmackDown ever. Like, I'm a huge diehard fan. So getting in that ring was incredible for me. And really, QT's helped me really develop what I'm able to do now as far as in-ring promos. I'd like to fancy myself a bit of a talker. QT really helped me a lot with that. The in-ring work is all psychology-based. We really focus on doing things right and making sure that you're telling a story and not just going in there and doing whatever you want.
What were your experiences like working some AEW so far? Because I know you guys have had some experience on AEW television.
It's been incredible, man. That's the first thing I did there. I was in the ring, part of the factory with QT. And, we were in there with Big Show. We tried to jump Big Show. Didn't work out too well. I took a big choke slam.
What were you thinking? It's the Big Show. Or it's,
when
it's
QT
Paul
tells
White.
you to come help him beat somebody up, you just go do it. You don't second guess.
Was he not the first one out of the ring? He's smarter than all of you.
He didn't tell us it was Big Show. And then Big Show just kind of walked out. And
you
I'm
didn't just...
not going to run away when I'm on TV.
You did.
I might have peed a little bit. My jeans were dark, so you couldn't tell.
See, QT asked me to do it too. I said I'm not a sucker. I was like, I know. As soon as that guy gets into the ring, you're gonna be the first dude out of there. That's a smart play. Hey, no offense, that's a smart play, coach. But you do your thing. I'm gonna go make $1 million. We'll reconvene in the morning. So
that's fair. But I got to do that, man. I've been part of segments. I've been out there. I got beat up by FTR. I got beat up by who else? I got beat up by Billy Gunn the one night. I've done stuff with Road Dogg and we've done just all kinds of stuff, man. The celebrities, I'm such a huge fan. I'm getting all worked up right now just thinking about it. I got Ric Flair's catchphrase tattooed on my knuckles, like limousine riding, Jeff flying, kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. I got a gun tattooed on my index finger of my right hand. It's the first thing people see when I shake their hand because I'm that big of a fan. I'm stuck being a wrestler. You know what I mean? There's nothing else I can do now. I can't get another job.
He's definitely not running a daycare. Not with us. Hey, can I watch your kids?
Yeah, I'd say no with a gun tattooed on your finger like that. You get some questions, but I like that it's all Ric Flair's catchphrase. Good stuff.
Hey, you know, you want to be the man, you got to be like the man. I don't think I'm going to have a chance to beat him. He just had his last match ever. So.
I was going to say something. It's something like that. I'm sure. I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw that tattoo, I also marked out for it. We were training in the gym. We were lifting weights, and like he was over there. I was like, "What's that on your hand? Like something new?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "I already knew what it was." He didn't even have to explain it to me. I said it out loud, each syllable. I was like, this guy.
It's creative.
Speaking about Nightmare Factory and the show, we also have Hyena Hera versus Charlotte Renegade, one half of the Renegade twins. That match is going to be pretty exciting. Charlotte she's been a force to be reckoned with lately. You know, she's been kicking some ass. And Hyena Hera's looking to make a big name for herself, trying to get her name out there. And I think she's going to impress a lot of people on this show. Following up with that, we have Angelica Risk, Spicy Quesadilla versus Robin Renegade, the other half of the Renegades. That match might have potential to steal match of the night because these two girls are going to beat the crap out of each other. It's like a deep-seated hatred since Angelica came into the factory.
Oh, yeah.
Bragging, acting like she's the best woman on earth. Robin wasn't having it, and they just have been beefing ever since. They were part of that Fatal 4-Way on Battle Slam recently. They got into it there. They're not allowed to train in the same rings. They got to be separated at all times because it's always got to turn physical. So these two are going to beat the crap out of each other.
Listen,
Awesome.
I was part of the camp that Angelica was a part of. She was part of my camp, which is Camp 2 at the Nightmare Factory. And
Oh no, we lost
Sheik.
He's back.
Okay.
Jameson Ryan show, baby.
Hey. Not on my watch. That was actually Ernest calling me.
Can't let me get up there.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Yeah,
doing crazy stuff in the ring right now. But yeah, I'm going to get off of this ring.
Don't leave the belt.
Like I said,
Don't leave the belt
it's
hanging
okay.
there.
I got
Okay.
insurance. We're good.
All
Don't worry
right.
about it. So like I said, Angelica was actually part of my camp, and she's great. Okay, I seen her train. She's got grit. She's got heart. She's scrappy. But from the moment I saw these Renegade twins, I'm going to tell you something. They'll do what it takes to win. They have no issue going there, if you know what I mean. And that's the type of team that the Sheik can back. So say what you want about Angelica, Jameson Ryan, but got my money on those Renegade twins winning.
I don't know, man. You can't count Angelica Risk out. She might not be the biggest competitor, but she don't care if you're 6'5", 300 pounds, or if there's two of them. She's going to come fight. She's going to swing, man. She don't care.
You know what? I guess we'll have to see on Sunday, man. I guess we'll have to see.
Is there anything we're missing out for the show that you want to throw out there? Anyone else?
Oh yeah,
the gauntlet
how about
match,
my gauntlet match?
Of course.
Looking forward to that. We got a lot of exciting talent in there. We got some young people from the Nightmare Factory, a couple other local talents from some other training schools, a couple big names in there. We got Psycho Boy Fodder of CYM. We're really excited about that. He's an intense competitor. We think he's really gonna mess some people up if he gets the chance to in there. Darian Bankston, he's another young, exciting competitor. Everybody needs to be
Yeah, he's not that great.
Heavyweight champion anywhere he goes. Sheik doesn't like him.
Come on, he's not that great. He's okay. He's all right. There's definitely better guys in the gauntlet match.
We got Carly Bravo was in it of the infantry.
I like Carly, such as myself.
Man, everybody's a fan of Carly. We got Byron Morales. He's a little piece of shit. He's gonna try and weasel his way into some wins.
He's not bad. He's scrappy. You talk so great about Angelica. He's like the same thing, but in guy version.
Larry's a brunette and Angelica's a blonde. I like the blonde.
Tomato.
I gotta ask Diamond Sheik this. He posted this video today with boss Rick Ross.
Oh yeah, the boss, the biggest boss.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, me and Steve don't get along right now. But if I was next to him, I would have given him a big, huge kiss for getting that on there.
Oh, I knew it. I knew you like kissing me.
Ricky.
I know you like kissing me. I knew it.
How did this come about? Like, what was he hustling? Like, did you hustle to get this? I got to know about this.
Nobody hustles the boss, brother. Nobody hustles the boss.
He's hustling every day. Every day he's hustling.
Every day he's hustling. Okay, that's a fact. It's a fact, Jack. Every day he's hustling. I got to the boss's house. Not my first time in the promised land. Been there many times before. I'm his personal jeweler, so I go there to some jewelry. And had brought a little special piece of jewelry that day, as you can see, right? So he came up to me and he asked me a question. Every time the boss asks a question, you know he's about to ask you an important question because he'll start it like this. Oh, right? Oh, Sheiky, what's that belt for? Boss, can you believe that Championship District Wrestling has me defending my baby in a gauntlet match? In a gauntlet match. I don't have to fight one guy. I have to fight like 20 guys. And he goes, you going to suplex him off the top of the promised land? I said, for you, boss, I will. Off the top of anything. The top of the turnbuckle, off the top of the balcony, wherever you want. They're going down because I'm leaving district with this baby right here around my waist.
Maybe you got to fight 22 guys. 22 in room 222.
I mean, hey,
he's 22
he's got all the money, so if you want, I'll just keep calling people. We'll book everybody. We'll get a 100-man gauntlet. It's your money.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't care. I gave him money already. He doesn't care about it. He doesn't.
$10 million. How do you think we got the school?
You see what I'm working with here? He's an idiot.
He dropped it at my door in a duffel bag.
He's handsome.
You couldn't accept a wire. You didn't know how to.
I don't have wires running through my house that can carry money. I don't know.
No, that's not. I told this guy that I could cash app him, and he didn't know what an app was.
It doesn't work like a cup phone. You can't put the money in there and it shoots across.
No, it doesn't. That's
it doesn't
not how
fit.
things work. No,
the spring would fall out.
Yes, it would fall out.
I know what I'm talking about. This idiot.
So,
anyways, sorry. Back to the boss. Yes, I'm a shoot jeweler. That's what I do for a living. So I create beautiful pieces, and when I think I have enough of them to go and show him, I take them out of our vaults, which these pieces are not displayed in our store. They're specifically for VIP clients. We go and see NFL teams. We go and see all kinds of, hip-hop stars, celebrities, all kinds of people are our clients. Shaquille O'Neal, Ric Flair is one of my clients. The whole defensive line of the New Orleans Saints, whole defensive line of the New York Jets. My company is called Lux Jewelers, and we do pretty good work. I started it by myself 10 years ago with the tutelage of my family, but I've done pretty much all the marketing and all the branding myself. And Rick Ross was a really good client of mine, and now he's kind of managing me. So we're trying to break him into the pro wrestling world as well.
My God. This is the greatest news I've ever heard. This is the biggest news we've ever. He just went.
Oh, good.
That's Rick Ross calling him right there. That's the boss calling him.
I just go stand in the office away from people wrestling.
Speak of the devil, man. Speak of the devil. He must have knew we were talking about him.
I can't get 1 minute.
The devil is a lie,
Get over here.
The devil is a lie.
People ask me why I don't do interviews. It's because I get 40 phone calls when I do one interview. It's ridiculous.
Well, he's bragging about all his clients. I once trained a guy that worked at Home Depot at a gym like 3 years ago. So how about that?
There you go.
Pretty
even.
Oh, is Lowe's too good for you?
No, it's not good enough, actually. Home Depot guy.
You're wearing the Lowe's colors.
Represent.
You're wearing the Lowe's colors right now.
ATL.
It's like talking to a beautiful brick sometimes.
I'd like to think of it more of as a parrot, but
he's a gorgeous man. He really is.
Right?
He is.
His profile.
So one of the things we always kind of wrap the interview up with is this is going to be kind of a different type of scenario today. We always ask, what's the coolest thing in your room that you're in? Sheik's in the Nightmare Factory. I mean, and holding a belt that I would imagine.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm cheating.
Yeah. He's been showing off the coolest thing the entire interview.
Exactly, I know.
I feel like I'm cheating, exactly.
So we might already have the answer from Sheik. Jameson, what is the coolest thing in your room that you're in right now?
That would be this New York license plate that says ass man. Like
Are you an ass man?
Cosmo Kramer, the ass man.
You know what? We need to start, Jeremy. We need to start opening our interviews asking like the hard hitting questions. Like from now on, my opening question is just tits or ass. Like from the very start, we'll just ask that right at the beginning, and then
That's fun. I like that.
That's our new. What's your favorite thing in your room?
Yeah.
Good deal. Jeremy, any last questions from you?
No, let everyone know where they can find you at, and plug the show again coming up on Sunday. Go ahead, Sheik. Let everyone know where to follow you and anything else you want to plug.
You can follow me at Diamond Sheik on Instagram. You can follow my company at Lux Jeweler on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at The Diamond Sheik. Come see Championship District Wrestling in the heart of Atlanta at District Atlanta this Sunday, August 18th. We start at 3 o'clock. We're going to go until 7 or whenever they kick us out. And it'll be a good time. It'll be a great time because we're serving. They're serving, right?
Oh, we got food. Oh, yeah.
We're serving. Yeah, so we're good. We got drinks. We got food. Everything. So come, bring your buddies, bring your friends. And
my buddy Celeste's been cooking up on the patio. Big Samoan boy. He knows food, baby. I'm telling you, that shit's good.
It's really good, 100%. I'll give it that endorsement for sure. If it's one thing I could say is that we live in a world where a lot of things go wrong and bad, and sometimes the news doesn't make us happy anymore. Sometimes we hear things that make us sad. Don't ever think that nobody's there to listen to you. If you need help, reach out for help. Mental health is such a fragile and crazy thing. I've lost so many friends to suicide and other things. So, it's never a bad thing. I would much rather hear a friend complain or cry on my shoulder than hear about a funeral I got to go to. So if you need help, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to anybody. Everybody's here to listen to you, and you're not in it alone. That's all I want to say.
Yep, and Sheik just buried me, making me a huge heel to some stuff after he said that nice sentimental meaning there. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. You can follow Championship District Wrestling on Instagram at district_wrestling. You can follow me at Pose Malone on Twitter. It's at Pose Malone, JRY. You can follow my business also at Pose Malone. Thanks for making it. Guys, appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys for taking the time. And everyone, check out the show on Sunday. If you are in the Georgia area, District Championship Wrestling, Jensen's going to be there. So
I'll
Jensen
be there,
will have plenty of news and
Let's
stuff
go, baby.
in there. Can you pick up Stephen Jensen? Can you pick him up and press him like Jensen?
Don't do that.
Oh yeah, we'll throw him all over I'll have Ben put him up on his
Yeah.
shoulder, and he can just launch him up onto the second story.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. That's what we
Just
got.
tuck-
I'm ready to
Hey, just tuck your chin, kid. You'll be fine.
just talk. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take some bumps, guys. Just let me know. Let me know if I need to do it.
I think I'm going to get out of here and get some tacos.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Thank you so
thanks,
much.
guys.
We really appreciate it. Guys, we'll be right back here on the. Thank you to Jameson Ryan and the Diamond Sheik for joining us in the Creator Spotlight. And go check out their show. The link is below in the description. Eventbrite, if you are in the Atlanta area, Championship District Wrestling. It's going to be headlined by QT Marshall and Anthony Agogo taking on the Workhorsemen, JD Drake, and Anthony Henry. I believe it'll be streaming on YouTube as well. So I'm sure we'll have the streaming link for that up on Fightful. We'll have results up on Fightful. Jensen will be there. If you're there, go say hi to Stephen Jensen. Punch him in the face, do something, maybe Jameson will toss him to you since he's going to press slam him. Guys, that is it for our show today. We'll be back next Thursday with a brand new episode. Everyone can head over to FightfulOverbooked.com. We got new content every single day. Yesterday, I posted our interview with Cole Radrick that we did last week. We did an hour with Cole live, and a new episode of the Joshi Dreamcast with Scotty Wrestling dropped as well. We have Day After Dynamite today with Will Washington and a special guest at some point. Sometimes he does it at 2, sometimes at 3. Will Washington works on his own schedule because he's Will Washington and he's the fucking man. He can do what he wants. I don't care. So he'll be there. I'll make my run in at some point on that show. He'll be reviewing last night's Dynamite, assuming he's healthy. Last week he was a little sick, under the weather, but I think he's back in action nowadays. We have a new episode of Newsworthy that'll be up on Saturday. We will have a new episode of Coexisting that's live every Friday at 3:00. And I know Maggie and Rob, I should make sure I plug this properly. Maggie and Rob are donating all the super chats for tomorrow's show, and I will get the proper plug on this one. But again, Coexisting every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fightful Overbook. That is a great show. Mag and Robbie are tremendous. So it is with they'll be donating all super chat proceeds to Mel Coleman Arts GoFundMe campaign. Again, I have the retweet up on my Twitter. You can follow Rob Wilkins at Rob Wilkins. You can follow Maggie at Maggie_IK. Go check them out. Show them some love for their show. And we have a new episode of the series up on Saturday, I hope. I want to make full promise on that, but hopefully it's Spine on the Pine. I saw your comment earlier. If you're listening back to this or if you're still here, I will do some type of video of like how I kind of thought of this and what my mind process and work is when I rewatch these matches. If people are interested in something like that, and even if you're not, whatever, if 5 people watch it, then that's okay. Somebody will watch it, hopefully. So yeah, go to Fightful Overbook, subscribe, leave us some thumbs up on the videos. We appreciate all support there. Subscribe to Fightful Select. Sean is always dropping the scoops. Go to Fightful.com. We're always dropping the news. Guys, that is going to do it. We'll be back next Thursday with a brand new episode of The Spotlight. Bye, everybody.